going, everybody, and welcome back to another episode, the 200th episode of your favorite swim bait podcast, Scales and Tails, joined by a guy who I have probably been asked a gajillion, trillion, million times to have on. Why haven't you had this guy on? Why haven't you had this guy on? Hey, if you guys didn't know it or not, this guy's pretty damn busy, and I don't want to impede on his busy schedule. But we were lucky enough today to pull him away from a couple hours from his shop duties, and we're gonna get to talk to Mr. Mike Gilbert, who you guys have probably heard on Cast and Crank, Bass After Dark. Is there any other ones you've been on, or just those two?
Uh, Not many others.
Okay, okay. But we get to talk to Mike today, guys. You guys have been asking for this forever, and what better guest to have for episode 200? Believe it or not, this was not planned. I just was like, "Hey, Mike, let's record this weekend." And he's like, "Okay, how's this day work?" And I was like, "Okay, well, you're gonna be the 200th episode, so that works out pretty dang good." So I hope you guys enjoyed this one because it's been a long time coming for you guys asking, so you guys finally are getting it here. So congratulations to you guys. We're joined. If you guys do not know Mr. Mike Gilbert over there in California, working class zero. That's probably about all you got to say, and most guys will make that connection. 17, render, communion, uh, Tyrant Part 1 rigging, Tyrant Part 2 catching, all those good videos that you guys have probably, I would assume everybody's probably seen. Maybe that's a gross assumption, but
Battles, you forgot. You
okay,
forgot
okay. Oh, dude.
battles.
I could have brought up the whole list. It had just gone through all of it. Quest for a cure, upsize to or downsize to upsize on bites.
Oh, you don't need to go down the whole YouTube plethora of stuff. Just like the four main ones that I like put my heart and soul
Yeah,
into.
yeah.
Those are the
And then
ones. Yeah.
you've got a couple short ones on there too. Like some of your old ones, like where you hook that what was it? You hooked a cat like when you were night fishing or when that guy was running away from the
Oh god,
cops
yeah,
and swam or and you walk past him. Like some of those videos are hilarious. You have to scroll pretty far back. Those probably won't pop up in the recommended, but those are also good watches. Out of
yeah.
Bounds. Out of Bounds is a really good one too.
Oh yeah, those are just just little short videos of like a catch or two or something that funny that happened on the water. The dude running from the cops, police chase one that just I'm bank fishing, he runs down into the water right next to me, and I'm just trying to like I've basically become like a hostage negotiator all of a sudden where I'm like, bro, you're not gonna make it anywhere.
Oh my gosh.
So
That is
yeah.
that video always whenever it pops up every once in a great while, and I just rewatch it. And then the last couple clips or the last couple frames are used slow motion, and them just carry walking the guy back to the police squad car. Oh, what a way to end that video!
Yeah.
So funny.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
It made itself pretty much.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So over there in California, like I said, if you guys are not familiar, you started Working Class Zero 2015, you said, right?
Yep.
I guess so
The
I
initial launch was October, I think it was October 2015. That
okay.
was the official like first announcement of something.
Right. So I went back and I listened to your first two episodes with Nick from Cast and Crank because I didn't remember ever listening to those. And once I started listening to them, I kind of my memory started to jog a little bit. And like I was talking to with Nick last night, there was so much stuff that you talked about back then. I mean, that was like 2022, 2023. That's like just now starting to see the day or the light of day, like some projects you've been working on, some baits and whatnot. And I mean, you even talk about your bait that you're working on right now and how it was way back before Working Class Zero was even a thing, and kind of to see that starting to see the light of day now. I'm like, wow, people might think that you BS when you say I've been working on this bait forever, but you go back and you listen to the receipts like that and you're like, holy crap, this guy has been working on this bait for, 10, 12 years. That's insane to think about.
Yeah, and when you say like, yeah, I've been working on it forever, you're not 100% of your time is
Right.
dedicated to working on that specific bait. You have so many other duties you got to do, but when you find the time, you go, oh, I got to go back. I got to make that tweak, and you make that change. You go and test it. If you still have enough time, you make that change. So, realistically, over the course of like, uh, um, say you're working on a bait for 5 years,
Mhm.
you're probably working on it over the course of like maybe a year's worth of time. If you
Right.
actually add it up, like, oh, I put in a month here, I put in
Mhm.
3 months there, like just testing, trial, and all that. But that's still a shit ton of
Yeah.
time to think like, hey, that's like a year's salary for
Mhm.
somebody that you have to put into the overall cost of a bait to get your money back and all that stuff. So there's a lot that goes into it. And some projects never see the light of day. You try and try and try and try, and it's just like, this isn't going to work out,
Right. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
And is it like
Or somebody else beat you to the punch.
right.
Somebody else beat you to the punch, and you don't
Yeah.
want to like, hey, here I am, me too. Like,
Yeah.
so you just step away from it.
Yeah, right, right. Is it I guess did you ever like, when you were recording with Nick back in 2023, did you expect this bait to ever like for you to ever, put it in production or sell it or enter the working class zero lineup, or did you always just think that you were going to be chasing little minute details until this bait eventually, if ever, got to where you were comfortable with it?
Well, I want to make sure we're talking about the same bait. Are you talking about the gutter toe deathwish?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What bait are you talking about?
No,
Okay.
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I always knew I wanted to get it in the line, but it needed to get to a point where I go that I'm really happy with it. Is it perfect? No, because nothing's ever going to be perfect in my mind. There's always going to be some new thing that you can adjust for. But to see where it was to where it is now, yeah, I'm stoked on it. And so that's the intent, to keep working on something, keep working on it. It starts off as like a special project, like, hey, I'm just going to play around with this. And then it turns into something more, and you start going, okay, there's viability in this, putting this out there. It's unique. There's not a lot out there looking like it. So, yeah, I mean, the long-term goal would be to have a line of them. That's kind of how years ago I started changing my mind on how I look at that specific bait. Like, hey, there needs to be options of it. So,
Mhm.
this wasn't planned. These are just literally sitting here on the counter, but I don't know. It's not going to focus on it,
No,
huh?
no, it's getting that
If I put
blur.
it
It doesn't
close to my
want you to
face.
show them.
Oh, that secret. Yeah. No, no. Here, maybe it'll do better if I pop it out of the package, but
Yeah, I didn't want to bring it up in case I didn't know how much longer you were thinking you were gonna wait to show it off or anything to the public. So I was
this,
like, I'm not gonna bring it up.
yeah, but uh, there it is. It's just I don't know how you would call it. It's like it blurs the line between like a buzz frog, a hollow body frog, and a swim bait. You got your paddle tail on it, got your little legs, and it's a surface style bait. It'll hang there, medium retrieve, fast retrieve, uh, just kind of fish it through, cover structure or up over the cover. So it's a fun bait. I enjoy fishing it a lot.
Hmm.
That's why I made it years ago. And it's been through, I can't even count the revisions on it. Like there's so much to it, but it was originally just built out of my desire to have a fun swim bait bite in the middle of summer and uh, have more cast and retrieves that come back without clumps of weeds on them than cast with retrieves that you're like, oh, there goes another one with a bunch of grass hanging from it.
Yeah.
Oh, there's another one. There's another one. Just, you know, summertime, California, Southern California, it's just carpet, grass carpet. So you end up with a lot of that debris. And so
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to that. Uh, yeah. I mean, to me, it's kind of old news. I'm still excited about it, but I've been messing with it for so
Yeah.
long. I'm like, I mean, I was just looking at it because I'm putting together an edit right now for it. It's like on the current computer and hard drives I have clips back in 2020 fishing the bait.
Mm.
And then I'm kind of being a little bit lazy where I'm like, oh, I got to dig out the other hard drives in order to get even older clips. And then I'm like, do I really want to dig out those clips and where you just start being like
Yeah.
lazy,
Yeah.
like, do I really need it? Because I'm going to be sitting there going, okay, what drive is it? Plugging it
Mhm.
in and finding the right adapter because technology advances.
Yeah.
It's like, gosh. I'm like, I think I'm good with these older clips. This is it just as reference.
Picture this: the sun rising over the mountains, your line gets tight, and the fight of a lifetime begins. Welcome to Lake Bacharach Lodge, Mexico's premier largemouth bass fishing lodge. Nestled in the heart of the Sierra Madre Mountains, Lake Bacharach Lodge offers world-class fishing, luxury accommodations, first-class hospitality, and expert guides who know where the grandes live. Whether you're chasing giants or kicking back after a day on the water with a frosty, cold, bottomless margarita, we've got you covered. Home to some of the biggest bass in the world, Lake Bacharach is truly an angler's paradise. Don't miss your shot at the bass of a lifetime. Book your trip now at www.lakebacharachlodge.com or call 806-316 8382 today. Lake Bacharach Lodge, truly the best in bass. If you're listening to this podcast, it's safe to assume you're tossing big baits for trophy bass. You already know that treble hook changes are part of the game, but they don't always have to be a pain in the butt to do. Toit split ring pliers are hands down the easiest way to swap out treble hooks, especially on those beefy swim baits we all love. No more slipping, no more fighting your gear, just smooth, secure hook changes every time. Available in 3 fixed sizes in a full kit with interchangeable jaws that safely open up any size split ring. Toyota doesn't stop there. They offer a full lineup of precision tools designed with anglers in mind, including long and short nose pliers, scissors that cut cleanly on limp braid, and wire forming tools perfect for rigging those soft baits. So up your game with Toy, because when you're chasing giants, every detail matters. Check them out at toyfishing.com and be sure to use code SNT15 for 15% off your order. Again, that's toyfishing.com, TOIT fishing.com. And again, SNT15 for 15% off your order.
Just
Man,
being a
that's
little lazy about it, but
yeah. I mean, I told you I think that bait is gonna be a hit. If you guys like skipping docks, like if you live on a super, civilized lake and there's a gajillion lake houses on it, and if you have docks that fish sit under, you're gonna be able to skip that thing all the way back there. And I'll tell you what, from out of experience, those fish are gonna eat that thing before you even start retrieving it. And then you get to set the hook like a jig. It's a freaking fun bait. Marshall's got some clips of him skipping that thing, 10 yards back into these huge laydowns and stuff. It's a super sick bait. And like I said, I told you before that I think people are going to buy that thing and they are going to fall in love it. You're going to see a gajillion fish posts with that thing. Whatever you see with the Micro Citizen, I bet you it's tenfold with this thing when it drops.
I think it's just unique. Like I constantly, like I don't know if it's just like bias when I'm like, uh, is it actually getting them to eat it? But it just I feel like it gets bit.
Hmm.
Like it just gets bit really well. You put it in the pocket, you skip it up under some toolies, like you're talking about docks, even just dragging it over mats. Once you figure out that cadence, figure out how you fish the bait, you're gonna get bit. If you're trying to slow crawl it up on the surface, yeah, bro, that's not what it is. It's a reaction style bait. So even with the skip, put it back in there in the mess, and it hits above them, and it doesn't just instantly sink to the
Yeah.
bottom, and it hangs there for a second. They're like, wait, what? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just a completely different application for those bats compared to what they're
Hmm.
used to seeing. So
Yeah.
no,
I
it's cool. It's fun.
Oh yeah.
But that thing's also been an absolute nightmare when it comes to the production side of it.
Right.
It's been an absolute nightmare. I've talked about it a little bit in like the Patreon stuff
Mhm.
like that, or in the subscription service where I've never had a baby so difficult on the production side of it, where it's like up is down, down is up, nothing's making sense. You trial and error, and you're like, this works, and then it doesn't work. So there's those pains of learning the production in a bigger scale. You can sit there and make one, and do all the trial and error you want to, but then when you actually expand it into a production setting, it's like, oh, we got to make X amount every single day to even break even on it.
Yeah.
It just becomes a whole different beast. Like, is it even worth making? At that point,
Mhm.
that's where you go. Is it
Yeah.
even worth making?
Right.
So,
Yeah. Um,
yeah.
do you edit in the shop or do you have a setup at the house or in the house that you edit at? Or you just like lock yourself in the shop, whether it's
It's
pouring baits or editing?
No, it's in the house. There's a little
Okay.
office. It used to be a pantry, and it didn't make sense as a pantry at all because it's in the corner of the house. It's like the hottest room in the house, so it became a little tiny like hallway office. But
Yeah.
it gets the job done. It's perfect. But yeah, this it's perfect. It's perfect for what it needs to be. And
Right.
if I eventually ever get out of here, out of Southern California, I will be making a specific like separate.
Hmm.
Everything for the business will be completely separated from the home. So home will be completely different. Business will be separated. And we're in the process of trying to do that right now. So
Right. Do
yeah.
you uh do you enjoy like being able to walk out your door and start your day right in the shop, or do you miss that the commute aspect, like where you can actually unplug and home is home and the shop is the shop and those two don't kind of mix. But I know, talking to you for so long, it kind of just mixes naturally. You and the whole family run Working Class Zero and you all have your parts. So it kind of is beneficial with how you guys are set up too. But do you miss that like unplug connection between the two?
I mean, truthfully, I don't even know what the unplugged connection feels like anymore because even when I was the director of digital media at Thrasher, I work from home there.
Oh,
So
okay.
I've been working from home for
Since before it was
I mean,
cool.
shit, man. Yeah, like probably the last 15 years it feels.
Wow.
Probably the last 10 years I've been working from home. And I mean, dude, it has its blessings and it also has its curse. Like there's points where, you know, the family's home, so we're kind of constantly on top of each other. I'm a pretty intense dude, like where I'm like just jamming around, jamming around. I
Yeah.
can talk a lot. My wife is kind of the exact opposite, where she's kind of like quiet, doesn't have a lot to say. And I'm just, when you used to go somewhere,
Hmm.
that's like her mental break. And now
Yeah.
it's kind of like, this guy's always around, just like just talking and talking and talking. But we figured out kind of the process. That's why I spent a lot of time out in the shop where it's
Yeah.
like, I'm, I spend a good 12 hours, 13, 14 hours out here a day, guaranteed. So
Yeah.
yeah. So it's almost like I go somewhere, I just pop in now, eat
Right.
lunch, things like that. Yeah, but I've been on the work from home thing for a long time. Uh, it it's awesome that you can just plug in and do your
Mhm.
thing. You don't have to spend the time commuting. You don't have to really. You don't feel like getting dressed for anything. You're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I'll roll out there in some sweats and a t-shirt I slept in and start working.
Yeah.
Like I don't. It doesn't matter to me. But at the same time, you could do yourself a little bit of like doom scrolling late at night where you're like, well, let me just check the emails. And before
Yeah.
you know it, it's like 2 in the morning and you're like, oh, I shouldn't have checked the emails
Mm-hmm.
because now I'm caught up. Like I gotta sort this out for this dude
Yeah.
or, you know, whatever it might be.
Right.
So,
When
hey, it's a part of it though.
yeah, when you started working class hero, were you still did you still have a full-time job as your digital yeah, so
Yep.
you didn't just jump right into, jump in ship of making working class hero the full-time, money maker. It was more so kind of weaning into it by the sounds of it.
Yeah. So when I started it, I was splitting between, uh, I was doing the director of digital media at Thrasher Magazine and kind of starting to get working class zero off the ground. And I did that for about 4.5 years. And then in 2019, I talked to, it was either April or May, June. It was, I think, I can't remember the specific date, but I just talked to the owner of Thrasher and just said, hey, you know, I was putting in a lot of time at Thrasher. We had some, you know, very transparent talks about the future of Thrasher or my future at Thrasher was kind of at the plateau where I was going to be. And I, my belief system is basically you have to incentivize people. If there's no growth,
Hmm.
then you kind of just go, ah. So we had a great talk and he just put it out there. He goes, hey, dude, why don't you just go do working class zero for 6 months? If it works out, cool.
Hmm.
Happy for you, no big deal. If it doesn't, come back. We'll we'll act like nothing happened
Mm.
and boom, we'll just be back to it. So it actually gave me this weird, he gave me this ultimatum, basically like shit or get off the pot.
Hmm.
It literally was just like, yeah, your last paycheck's next Friday, which kind of was a shock to me because
Yeah.
I was basically just asking like, hey, can I just go down to making films and like I don't want all this responsibility anymore
Mhm.
because I do want to focus more on working class zero. And he basically was like, no, I'm not playing that.
Yeah.
Your last paycheck is on Friday. You got 6 months, make it happen, or you come back and nothing, it will act like nothing ever happened. Which what owner, CEO dude is gonna
Yeah.
do that for, you know, not many, dude. So it was super cool. I still talk to him regularly. Tony Vitello, he's rad dude, probably one of the best bosses people could ever have. But yeah, so I went full time and haven't really looked back then. And it was a super stressor because that's when COVID hit. You know,
Hmm. Hmm.
9 months later, the COVID stuff hit and felt like your world got turned upside down there.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know what's gonna happen. You're like, wait, where are we going with this? But I never would have predicted the mad dash and the outdoor world that took place during those COVID years where it just like exploded for so many people. You couldn't even remotely keep up with the demand because there's so many people
Hmm.
hit the outdoors. So it was a great thing, but it's also kind of like, well, I know I pissed a lot of people off during that time period too because they wanted the baits, they couldn't get the baits, you
Hmm.
know. We're a small operation for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's like that's crazy. I did not know that it was I mean, it was 6 years ago, but to think back, I thought you had been doing it since like, 2016, 2017, the whole working class zero full time. And, that's just you put so much work into it and you branded it and everything so well that I would bet that a lot of people, assumed that you had been doing it for, more time than you had as the full time thing because there was so much like all your videos and everything and all the drops and stuff, I just you know what they say about assuming, but I was like, you just said that, and in my head, I was like, holy crap! I thought Mike had been doing this full time for at least a little bit longer, and that was kind of mind blowing after you just said that.
No, I mean it's always just been me and the wife, and that's why it would be funny. We'd do the wood measuring boards. That was a big thing earlier on. COVID kind of changed that whole game. But besides that point, we'd be like, oh, hey, we got to pack all these measuring boards now. It's just the wife and I for hours,
Mm.
putting little foam on them, doing all this stuff, like a kind of a really labor intensive process. And
Yeah.
those early days, we were just doing it in our condo in Vista, California, just down there in the living room. You got your foam pouches, it's just a very homegrown thing. And it is still to this day. My wife does 90% of the packing. We're starting to get my son a little bit more involved in it. So if anybody out there sees some wild handwriting, he's when he writes the little thank you notes, he's kind of he kind of trips on it. He's like, dude, now people are actually seeing my thank you notes. I gotta get a better handwriting here. But yeah, it's a homegrown operation for the most part. I work with the factory to produce some of the baits, and we're trying to expand more on that. But for the most part, it's my wife or
Mhm.
myself that are handling it. Doing the
Yeah.
emails. There's no return department. There's
Mhm.
no sales department. It's us.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So
I'll
it's
never
good that way
forget.
though. It's kind of like a long dime
Yeah.
versus a quick nickel, and you don't lose the fire because you're
Mhm.
dealing with it every day, hands on. Like
Right.
you learn customers' names, you
Mhm.
you know all that good stuff. So
Yeah, I'll never forget. I sent you a picture, this was a while ago, of my apartment floor, and it was just covered in magazines and in all those packaging, and you could see all the trash. And you like called me right away. You're like, "Oh my gosh, I got like terrible PTSD flashbacks of when we used to have to do that." Like, "Oh my gosh, I cannot believe that you're doing that." Like, good for you, but I did not miss those days at all. And you just said that, and that reminded me of it. That's pretty funny. I didn't even think about packing all the boards and everything. I remember when I ordered my board, it showed up and stuff, and didn't even think about it. But after, you drop 150 of those things, whew, that's a day's worth of work at least.
well, it and that's the thing. Even with the boards too, is like you do all that packing, and it might take you 5 minutes, 10 minutes to pack a board, depending on where it's going and what like the rules are, and then the shipping charges that go through it. In those early days, every time you get a shipping charge, you're like, oof, because most customers don't know. Like, if I charge a flat rate shipping for a product, say $10, if 75% of the customers are going, those packages are going further than, let's say, Arizona, well, on a larger item like that, it might be, oh, it's $38 to ship it, but you pay $20 to ship it,
Yeah.
and then that adds up over time. So in those early days, that really kind of messes with your mind a little bit. But after you've done it enough times, you just hope it all just balances out, and you still kind of go, hey, dude, I need to figure out a way to save money
Yeah.
on some of this stuff because it's starts to hurt. But the grind of sitting there, till 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, packaging up because you want to make sure that those packages go out the next day, it's it's harsh, but people respond to it too. And you know, that's why I have it where somebody has an issue online, if they go to a forum, there's plenty of people that often will chime in and say, hey, look, dude, if you actually reach out to them, I
Mhm.
think they'll get you taken care of.
Yeah.
And that is most of the time. We never intentionally ignore somebody. There will be a lot of emails that come in, stuff gets buried, and try and go once a week. Like, we'll at least look back. Did we miss anybody's
Mhm.
stuff? But we try and get people sorted. We can't help everybody because sometimes there is some responsibility on, you know, the customer themselves. Like, hey, that was 1000% your own error. But for
Mhm.
the most part, I try and give people the benefit of the doubt and try and get them sorted out the best we can. But
Yeah. And
yeah,
I think We had talked about that before, and you just mentioned it too. Staying up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, doom scrolling on the email, and be like, "Oh crap, I got to get up and go into the shop tomorrow." Like I am screwed, but all the emails are brushed up on, so I guess that's a win.
Yep. Yeah, man. Oh, yeah. The after the drop email stuff is kind of like, uh, like I think a lot of people are getting way better about it. And
Mm.
I don't know if this is something like I don't think we anticipated it going here, but maybe some other guys will appreciate me talking about it. It used to be a lot worse, but I think a lot of the customers have gotten way better. Where there used to be a lot of guys during a drop, everybody does a mad dash to buy stuff. And then there might be 20 or 30 emails after the drop is done where guys, and you got a list to go through. You go check you go through every single email. Okay, okay, what is that email? What is that email? Okay, those are all just payment receipts. Okay, but oh, there's a customer that has it. There might be 20 or 30 emails. Some are pissed off, yelling at you, all caps, go F yourself. I hate you. There might be other ones that are, hey, can you cancel my order? And then there's other ones that are, hey, I got a bad address. Hey, I didn't get tracking. You just got to go through and kind of answer those things. But I think over time, as I put in my big email newsletter where I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
hey, make sure your address is correct.
Hmm.
If it's just you checking in on it, don't email us about this stuff because there's a lot of other issues that people actually do need attention. Like, hey, I sorry, I put in the wrong address and whatever. But the order cancellation thing, that thing has, I think, kind of mellowed out a little bit. Where I think guys used to just kind of buy stuff
Mm.
and then be like, oh shit, my wife saw the transaction.
Mhm.
Why am I buying $500 in stupid soft plastic swim baits? Like that type of stuff. So
Yeah.
I think now guys are a little bit better, or maybe just the whole overall scene has changed. But yeah, those could be a little bit frustrating too on the cancellation side because when you cancel an order, the customer doesn't know. PayPal still takes their cut of the money.
Hmm.
So if somebody does, let's say $100 order, PayPal's taking their $3.50.
Yeah.
They keep that regardless. So the bigger the order and then somebody cancels, it's like, nope, PayPal's taking their money. The customer gets their full amount back, but we
Mhm.
pay that
That
transaction fee
difference.
still.
Yeah.
So if a bunch of guys are can't, yeah, if a bunch of guys are canceling orders, you're like, oh, sweet, we just paid $500 for that.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Oh,
but it comes with it. That's the payment processing world these days. Any place
man.
pays them. So I'm not complaining. It just is a part of it. Those are those hidden fees that pop up everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we don't have to keep talking about the business side or the intricacies of the
Oh no.
business. This is probably kind of a boring subject. I don't know.
Um, do you
Uh,
remember like now, lucky enough to say that the baits do not stay on the website for very long, even a couple days later after you have your leftovers, in case, packages get lost or whatnot when you load those up on the site. Those are usually gone very fast with little notice, outside of maybe a post, a story post or whatever else it may be. Do you remember times like back in the beginning when maybe Working Class Zero wasn't as established or people, weren't really too familiar with the baits and the baits would like sit for, a day or 2 or 3 days, or like you'd actively have baits on the site? Do you remember that? And how long ago was that?
that was in the very early runs of like the Battle Shad.
Mm.
Um, there have been moments where like citizens, there's this thing you learn it over time. So early days, it'd be like, hey, I made 50 battle shads and it took a day to sell out. And then you start making more and you're like, okay, it took 3 hours to sell. They would sit and there's always a certain color. You can't predict why.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden that color just guys don't like it.
Hmm.
Like there was a moment where I love blue. I love blue on baits. Um, and this was during that throws where the citizen was selling out like hotcakes and people were constantly, "Hey, man, you need to make more. You need to make more." So we're in the factory. So I tripled, like, "Hey, let's make more." And it's not like it just magically appears. It's not
Right.
like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
shortchange your. It's like it took 3 times as long to produce those baits. So you just focused it all, like, hey, all the employee time into making that. So it took 3 times as long. And then you put it up and you watch, and you're like, that first hour, it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
and then it goes. And so you realize there's a wall that you hit.
Yeah.
There's a fine number of how many people have money, how many people are interested in all this. So you learn from that and you go, all right, well, I sat on those citizens for like 4 or 5 more months.
Mm.
They didn't want blue.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Keith Wilson's color, the Misfit.
The Misfit, yeah.
Wanted to make sure we had a lot of them. And then that thing, I think we had like the sevens for like 9 months or something.
Holy
It was
crap.
a different color.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we made a lot of them appealing to the demand that people, claim they
Spoke
want.
into, yeah.
The peanut gallery online will say, "Oh, you did blah 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 blah." But the minute you actually offer that large amount, it drops off readily. So
Mm-hmm.
I've kind of just fine tuned it where it's like, how much do I want to put on the table? Because if a product's sitting there for 9 months, that's money that I have invested on that.
Yeah.
So I'm a small business. I need to keep that. The velocity of the money it needs to keep moving. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, hey, this is what we'll do. I've pretty much narrowed it down. Like, this is a drop size. Boom, boom, boom,
Mm-hmm.
and just do it that way. And just try and keep them steady enough so that, you don't go completely dry, but I also don't want to oversaturate it out there, because then you're having a bait, a specific color sitting there for 9 months. Like,
Right.
I remember I had some white battle shads at one point that we had for like a month,
Wow.
which everybody wants a bone white battle shad until it's available. And then they're like, I'm good.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
that's all that's all my labor of, like, if
mhm.
it spent me a month to make that, and then you do a drop and then it doesn't sell, you're a month out on that labor,
Yeah.
basically,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah, who did I tell this to? I told this to somebody the other day. I can't remember who it was, but dude, one night you called me. You're like, "Hey, like, just name a color. What color do you think people would want to see?" And I was like, "I don't know, Mike. Like, maybe like a perch would be." I got to PERC on the word perch, and all I hear is Mike. I'm not doing effing perch. That never sells. Everybody wants it, but nobody ever wants to buy it. I'm never doing that color again. And I was like, okay, Mike, I did not know that. And he's like, no, it's okay. Like everybody always wants it, but it never sells as good as like people hype it up to be. So I'm done with perch. I'm not doing that. Only small batches if I ever do that color again. I laughed so
Yep.
hard after that phone call. I was like, huh. I think I told you I did not
But
like
hold on,
perch color bait.
I walked you through it though. I said,
Yeah,
look at
yeah,
the
yeah.
pattern of
Yep.
stuff. I'm like, you can look around. Whenever somebody does a drop, what's the last color that's always still available?
Hmm.
Perch.
Yep.
I'm like, there's like 25 core guys that want a perch color, and they're loud online. And I'm saying that in a positive way.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
loud online. They're passionate. So there's 25 guys. They buy their 25 to 50 baits across the spectrum. And then you have the rest of them just kind of sitting there, and guys going, fuck, I don't want to buy. I mean, I'll fish it, but I don't want a fucking perch color like that.
Oh man.
Does it really matter? Maybe in some places it doesn't, but
Yeah.
I think most guys stay away from perch. But there are definitely times that, bass are chewing on the perch.
Hmm.
It's valuable.
Hmm.
It's a hard color pattern to pull off and make it look good.
Hmm.
And the demand is pretty low.
Right.
So somebody can easily prove me wrong, though. They can easily prove me wrong and say that's their best color. I'm just talking out my ass, I guess. It's my personal feelings with
Right. Yeah.
perch.
Yeah. No, I understand. As a northern guy, I hate perch. I have vocalized that for all 200 episodes. I just do not like the perch colors. I'm not sold on it. So kind of talking about the
So
gutter
the
tail.
audience is aware. The
Oh
audience
yeah,
is aware of your beef with perch. Then,
they
all right,
should,
all
they
right. So
should.
that you
And it was so
you
that was
found a soulmate when
yeah,
somebody else
yeah.
was like, "Fuck perch."
Yeah, that was pretty uncharacteristic, but I was like, oh, maybe like a 6-inch perch citizen like that might sell good. And no, I got informed that no, they sell, the handful sell, but after that, it's kind of hits a plateau, and we hold on to them for a while. Um, so with
Well, you can still learn that with certain colors like black. I love black.
mm,
Like a solid black bait is incredible to me during certain times of the year. I think there's a few other guys that love black baits, but you put them out there, and that is guaranteed going to be your last bait that sells. Like, even if you make much smaller numbers of them,
mhm.
that is going to be the one that slowly just like trickles out. You can tell it's almost like guys are like, don't make me buy this. But there's times that black just outperforms any other color out there. I don't know what it is, but it will just outperform any other pattern.
Is
So,
there any
what, you pulling on a
color?
black one right now?
No, no, I was pulling out the silver
Oh,
top, white bottom. Is this like just
okay.
looking at the outside in? I see a gajillion citizens in this color. Is this like if you had to name like two or three or like most colors that sell out fast no matter when you drop them or how many you drop, what are like the two or three color combos that you just that people always seem to want no matter time of year or et cetera, et cetera?
Well, I think the best performing, so like, and man, I don't want to like blow anybody's thing, but great performing bait. You can't go wrong with just a classic dark silver
Hmm.
back, light silver belly. You
Oh, it's my
can't, that's
favorite.
going to get bit anywhere.
Yeah.
That's going to get bit anywhere. And I make several versions of it. I make a darker version of it. Then I also do like the deadbeat that has like flake in it.
Hmm.
Like I do a sidekick that has different flakes in it. So there's like several different versions of it. Obviously, I'm a big fan of that color because I just know it gets bit.
Yeah.
Uh, Other colors that do really well is like just super low key. Some guys love them. They think it looks absolutely incredible. And then other guys I don't think get it. Goblin crushes it.
Mm.
It catches fish. It does well. It's a great pattern out there. One color that does horrible that I can't understand, horrible with anglers, but I can get bit on it no problem, is gold backs.
Yeah, you and
Something
I have
that's like
talked
a
about that
goldish
before.
back. I don't understand. I'm like, it looks sick, dude. Like it's gonna get bit, but
Mhm.
you know, I think guys would prefer just a solid white bait, which
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of the whites. So it has I'm like, I'll fish gold before I'll fish
Yeah,
that
yeah.
bright white. But gold is bright in the water, it's a
Hmm.
very bright one.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's pretty even keeled after that. Cokehead and crackhead, the
Yep.
hookup tackles special color, that one has done extremely well
Mm.
because I don't make a lot of like white colored baits because I'm personally not a big fan of it. I'll throw it in here and there, like on a tyrant drop,
Yeah.
occasionally on a battle shad drop, those things. But I don't do a lot of those colors because I think that wall, most guys that are in the big swim bait realm want an actual color pattern
Mm.
versus a solid color bait. But
Hmm.
I don't want to sell those guys short. There are still those guys that want that solid color like a bone white and they'll get bid on it. So I just think given the option, they'll prefer a painted bait over the the bone white patterns.
Yeah.
But militia does really well too. That militia pattern does really well. They, for the most part, they all do fairly well, but there is an obvious pecking order, which I would say, uh, you know, a gold is probably at the very bottom of the list. Or I have a pattern called Menace, which I think is sick. It's pretty much like a dark, almost black back with a silver belly. It does well, but
Mhm.
it's not one of the better performance. So much that I kind of like slid it right on out of the production line for the micro citizens. I was like, yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and
Yeah.
skip making that one for a while.
Yeah.
So
That you mentioned the gold. I remember like that was probably one of the first my first interactions with a citizen was one of the gold ones, like one of your old posts that you posted on Instagram, probably like 2017. And that's just when you said that, I was like, oh my gosh, like that was my first thought of seeing the citizen was a gold. It's probably like on it was when you were doing the cement or the asphalt pictures and you'd have the baits lined up for the drops. Like gold,
yep,
silver, blue, green. Those were like the four that you would drop at the time, and that like you said that, and that just sticks out so much in my mind. I haven't now that you say that, I don't. When was the last time you did a gold back?
it's been a while,
That yeah,
couple of
that's what I was
years.
thinking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
dang.
Because the last time I thought so, there was originally it was a little bit more of a darker gold, like with an olive hue to it, and I love that color, but it didn't do well. And so I was talking to somebody, and they're like, "Hey, maybe if you just lighten it up a hair,
Mm,
so it's like a little bit lighter of a gold." So I did that, made it a hair lighter,
mhm,
did the same thing, and I go, "It looks super fishy,
mm,
but." the guys just aren't that into it. And that's, what's kind of important. You got to put baits out there, sure, that I love and I think that they look great, but I also don't want them sitting there. I want guys, in order for you to get people catching fish on your baits, they have to have confidence in the patterns that they're throwing. So you're obviously, it's just a natural thing where you're gonna gear towards offering them the stuff that they actually have
Yeah.
confidence in they want. You don't want to force them into like, hey, yeah, throw that gold pattern.
Hmm.
But occasionally maybe that might open a door for somebody that was like, I need a pack of citizens, but I don't like gold, but fuck, I need a pack. I'll try it. And then they go out and have the best day of their life on it.
Yeah.
Like maybe they're a gold believer then. But
Right. Yeah.
I still remember that taking those photos
Hmm.
on the cement out in front of the house. I'd be out there like brushing off the dirt, like, oh, like, and then trying to get it and working with the sunlight, trying to take a photo. It was cool. I mean, it's great, but in the grand scheme of it, I ended up just going to the white,
Mm.
the white background on the photos, which is very generic, but it helps streamline that whole process where last thing I want is somebody posting, like, say, if I'm working with a shop or something that has the product and then they put it on their website. I hate just photo in hand
Yep.
for, and
Like
that's what shops will do
a
sometimes. They're like,
product
well, these are going to
picture.
sell pretty quick. So
Yeah.
I'm going to take a photo of it in my hand and post it on their shop's website and put it out. Whereas if I have a white background, a clean image, they can just steal that from my site and put
Mhm.
it on there. So there's a better representation of the product. And I get it. I mean, I've done the photo in hand
Yeah.
post, but I don't normally advertise that. That's for like the drops of like the subscribers type of thing. Like, hey, I'll just take your photo real quick. Hey, these are
Yeah.
on the website right now because I know I'm going to pull that post down.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, Oh, I was gonna ask you something about well, I guess we kind of talked about it. Are the gutter toad Death Wish, is that gonna be like a solid color bait where, you offer two or three colors, or do you think you're gonna get, you just mentioned how it's been a pain in the butt to pour them or inject them, whatever you want to say. Do you think there's gonna be some color combos, or are you just perfectly fine with the solid colors? I mean, that's something you and I have kind of talked about before, but I just want to hear your thoughts on that.
For right now, I don't have any plans of doing them as like laminate pours, dual pours. They're
Right.
all solid colors. So you're going to have a black, a brown, a green, a bone white. I may throw a couple other
Mm.
colors into the mix there, especially if we end up going down the route of like signature colors with some of the guys. But for right now, it's just the initial release is going to be four main colors, solid colors: black, brown, green, and bone white.
I tell you what, I saw
And
a
I have
white one
plenty.
the other day. I saw a white one the other day, and I kind of crapped myself. I'm like, "Whoa, this thing looks slick. I'm only used to seeing it in this brown. I've never seen a white one before." Jared's like, "Oh yeah, yeah." Mike sent me those, and I was like, "That thing looks, yeah, like I don't know, it looks different. You can see all the curves in the bait and everything." I'm like, "This thing, like, I already had respect for the bait. I'd called you and was telling you about stuff, but I was looking at it on Jared's board, and I'm like." Damn, that thing's like when you see a white Cadillac or a white Escalade drive by, man, that thing catches your eye going by.
Oh, it catches your eye out there in the water too, where you're like, you why, because it's a surface bait for the most part, unless you want to do your own rigging to get it to fish differently, which there's plenty of options to do it. It's a freestyle style bait. It doesn't have a head case harness in it, so it's just raw dog. You can do with what you want, screw eye it. But when it's white and you're out there and you're fishing it in a little chop, you see it kind of
Like
you.
appear and
It makes
disappear.
you acutely aware, yeah, of like the currents that are in the water because your bait's going. All of a sudden, it's like whoa, and you're like, what in the? You just see it
Yeah.
moving in the water a lot more. Where the black one, you're like, they're doing the same thing, but you just
Mhm.
don't see the black. You just see a wake from the black for
Yep.
the most part.
Yep.
And so you don't really see what's going on out there as the bright white one. And that's what I always struggle with. I'm like, why the heck would a fish eat that thing that's just white as white
Yeah.
out there? But they'll eat them. But
Yeah.
yeah, so four basic colors, and then three sizes: 4 inch, 5 inch, 6 inch uh, for the baits.
I'll tell
So
you guys.
some
I'll
a
tell
little
you
something
guys
for
now.
everybody.
I'll tell you guys now. Get the 6 inch. The 6 inch look like you'll get it and you'll be like, this is a freaking meatball of a bait. But let me tell you, if they're gonna eat the 5 inch, they are gonna eat the 6 inch. Jared texted me a couple weeks ago and he's like, dude, I bet you your fish are gonna mess up the 5 inch. And I sent him a couple videos. He's like, dang, that 5 inch is like kind of killing him. I'm like, dude, that was the 6 inch. And he's like, oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting you to have that much luck with that thing. The 6 inch is a very cool bait. I will say that. The 5 inch. you can't keep the fish off that thing. Caught so many freaking fish on that 5 inch one. It was insane. It's just a fishy bait all out. You don't, it's not like a Citizen or a Huddleston where you have to have confidence in it. If you like catching fish, like I fish mine like a spook. I put reel puts, like it hops. Like you said, you're watching that thing out there and you're like, oh, I don't know. This thing's doing all sorts of stuff. And then the bait's just not there anymore. And you just see your line starting to swim away and you're like, oh, yeah, there's a fish. And it has no idea that it has a 4-aught beast hook in its mouth that I'm about to send through its lip right now. I don't know.
No.
It's hard not to talk about it sometimes. Like somebody mentioned something a couple days ago, and I was just like, "Oh yeah, it'd be cool if there was a bait like that, wouldn't there be?" Like he was talking about fishing a ribbit for pike, and I was like, "Yeah, it'd be cool. Yeah, I don't know, maybe somebody will do something like that someday."
Yeah. And that's why I even made the bait originally starting is because like in the summertime, a buzz frog bite can be awesome. But a lot of the buzz frogs back then, a long time ago, they're little tiny 3.5 inch, 4 inch stuff. And you can't keep the like 3/4 to 1 pounders off of those baits. And so you might catch 3 or 4 fish and you're like, oh, I just went through my pack of these baits. They're not expensive, but you're still just like, oh, okay, I'm having to rig it up. But eventually I wanted a swim bait vibe to it. So that's where I first made a giant buzz style frog that has morphed into this over the years.
Mm.
There's still that buzz version too that exists out there or here, not
Yeah.
out there, but it's literally here. But I wanted something that's like I'm a swim bait dude. I enjoy throwing swim bait, so I want to make something a little bit bigger to get some of those rats off the bait.
Hmm.
So this bait specifically, the 5, you can just straight catch fish on it.
Oh yeah.
It just catches all shapes and sizes. The 6 culls a lot of those smaller fish
Hmm.
where you'll get a lot of nips where you're like, oh shit, because they'll come up and but they don't suck it down. And I think they come up to grab it and they're kind of like,
Whoa.
ooh, that might be a little bit more than I'm willing to fight off right now.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but the big fish will have no problem eating it.
Hmm.
A 6 inch bait, it's the equivalent probably volume wise, a little bit more. I wish I had one sitting right here, but it's probably a little bit more volume wise than a 6 inch Citizen. Not
Yeah.
much, but it's just a different shape, a different
Hmm.
profile. So it can be kind of intimidating. But yeah, the bait, I mean, it gets their attention. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how quick it's made my fishing this style bait over the years. It kind of contradicts a lot of like the general theories I have in when it comes to large soft plastic, shad or trout looking swim baits, because you realize how quickly these fish can see something and
Oh.
explode on it, how
Oh yeah.
fast, like it's such a reaction where, you're bringing this bait back at a pretty fast clip
Hmm.
and somehow they're in a grass mat and it comes into an open hole just for a fraction of a second and they just poof out of that hole, like instantaneous. And I've been filming a lot lately, trying to film for the project and looking back at some of the footage and go, dude, they came up, grabbed that thing and turned around in just the blink of an eye,
Yeah.
so quick. So it just kind of makes you really rethink some of the old mantras or the stuff that gets preached heavily in, you know, big swim bait fishing. I think we underestimate the ability of these fish to explode when they need to.
Yeah.
Like, oh, there's a meal. Even I'm talking about large fish.
Hmm.
And I think, I mean, we're just seeing wide varieties of behavior, and this bait kind of demonstrates it. Like I've had fish with a bait hanging over the tulies, and this is not a Southern California thing at all for me for any bait ever in the past. But I've had it where the bait's like dangling over a tule, and the bass just jumps up out of the air, to grab it. And you're like, what? I mean, that doesn't happen. I know in your part of the woods that probably would happen here
Yeah.
and there,
Yep.
or if it's like hanging on the wall. Yeah, but in Southern California, I feel like a lot of these fish have seen the bait enough baits where they're like, nah, I already know what that is. That's some dumb shit from some dumb angler over there, like doing something. But
Yeah.
the bait gets them enough. But I don't know. I think LiveScope has changed also the way we look at a lot of bass fishing
Hmm.
too. And there's also those giant elephants that are sitting out there suspended that are just eating little potato chips all day long.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Just
You-
getting it, just
12
getting thick.
pounder,
Yeah.
12 pounder on the micro citizen on a little jig head, or
Yep.
something crazy like that, even 6, 7 years ago, those fish, I've talked about it with Marshall, like those fish had probably never seen a bait outside of a crankbait or maybe a worm. Like they had never seen a depths Shakamandu sad just sitting there shaking in front of its face, and they're not gonna not eat that thing. Like it's crazy to think about that, especially like. I mean, the craziest thing I'd ever seen with Ford fixing sonar was when you and Jeff were fishing or doing the part two Tyrant video, and you were casting at it or whatever, and you're like, oh man, it's not gonna eat or whatever. So you bomb that cast out, long lined it. I don't remember if you turned the graph off or were just facing the other way, and you were like,
It's just
ah,
facing the other way. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. You're like, da 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 da, and it was a boom, and you're like, oh, like yo, Jeff, this is the one. And I was like, that is the craziest, couple minutes of an event that I've seen. It's like, wow, that fish, whether it knew what the ping was from the sonar or whatnot, or it was just getting bad vibes, like it's like, wow, maybe these fish just really kind of know what that is, and they just kind of shut themselves off when they hear that in the area.
Yeah, possibly. And that's why in that video I told Jeffrey, I'm like, I'm gonna go old school style on him. And so it's kind of like in my mind, I'm playing a trick on the fish. They see so many baits come and go, and they are baits come and go and boats come and go. And that fish, this is, you gotta remember, these are for, pretty pressured waters.
Yeah.
I don't say bass are always behaving this way. I think our fish have grown up in pretty much like little fish tanks. They've seen so much. They know every corner of it. So they know, okay, here's the water displacement. This boat's coming in here. I can hear every little creak coming off this boat. I'm just going to kind of hang out. I don't need to run because I'm not going to get hurt. I'm 30 feet away from this boat. I'm cool. I'm a little bit suspended down. You throw the bait at them and they're like, yeah, cool story, dude. I'm not going out. You literally can watch your bait swim right past them and they don't even move. In my mind, I go, I'm just going to play a trick on this fish. I'm going to go away. I'm going to turn that trolling motor on. They're going to hear that sound fading or they're going to feel it fading. They're like, all right, cool. This guy left. I'm free and clear now for the next 20, 30 minutes before the next dude comes in.
Yeah.
So all I do is I let them know I'm leaving, but I throw that bait out in the process of leaving and
Mhm.
dump a ton of line and get away from them. So they never hear that splashdown once I'm further away.
Mhm.
That makes any sense?
Yeah, they
It's just
never
how my
alerts
mind
them.
thinks about it. They
Yeah,
never
yeah.
hear the bait. Yeah, it never alerts them. And so now they're like, okay, they're feeling more comfortable. And then you start your retrieve when you're, 100 yards away or whatever it might be. And those fish are like, okay, cool. I'm in my comfort zone. Oh, look, there's something going by. The thing
Mhm.
that they weren't interested in before, now all of a sudden
Yeah.
they're interested in. So, and they'll chase it for a while too. I've talked about it in old videos, is like you get beyond that point
Oh yeah.
where
Yep.
they've followed the bait long enough and it hasn't started,
No
if you're
off
bottom
puts or
bouncing or
anything.
you're fishing a
Yeah.
glide, whatever. Yeah, it doesn't start going up to the surface. They're not hearing, they're not feeling a boat, they're not seeing anything weird. They're just chasing it for a while. Eventually, they're like, okay, I got to give this thing a try.
Mhm.
And you also got to think about too, if you're traveling on a spot that may have several other large fish in it, you're kind of like bringing them in like a wolf pack. You're
Mhm.
creating a wolf pack because if they're all staggered throughout the spot and one starts chasing a bait, they're curious. This
Yeah,
one
yeah.
starts chasing it, then this one starts chasing. Before you know it, you've created competition.
Competition. Yeah.
And one of those fish is going to bite. And you just got to hope it's the big one.
Mhm.
Oftentimes, the smaller one will get to it first, but it could still be a giant fish. And that makes you just go, ooh, there was a couple fish on that. This one's a 10.
Yeah.
Maybe those other ones are a little bit bigger.
Mhm. Yeah,
So,
you mentioned one of your older videos, and that's what I was just writing down while you were saying that. Do you have any like thoughts or like aspirations of redoing some of those older videos with stuff that you've learned over the last 3 or 4 years with the kind of the uptick in pressure in your fish's behavior, or do you kind of want to like sit on some stuff for a little bit longer? Maybe if you decide to move eventually and release a new video with some of the stuff you had learned for the last couple of years with your California fisheries.
no, I have no problem talking about it. It's just the matter of like actually taking the time to do the
Yeah.
videos because uh it takes time, and if I have guys pounding on the door, demanding they need more baits or whatever, and you spend 3 or 4 days making a video,
Mhm.
you got to look at the real cost of that
Yeah.
video. But I enjoy it. So it's a little bit more of a, it's kind of like a passion project,
Hmm.
but I just need to get my head above water again before I can really start kind of cranking on that stuff,
Yeah.
have a more clear mind so I can articulate my thoughts better. Because that's the thing I struggle with the most is kind of having more precise language and painting a clear picture for my thoughts.
Right.
Uh, I mean, there's a lot to it. I think having the live scope now has changed my perception of what is going on with a lot of those bass where this is probably widely talked about. I try not to consume too much fishing stuff out there, but there's like when you used to be like, I used to think like, okay, fish, you're on a spot, the fish blow off the spot, they leave for a while, and they're going to come out. Back when we were in the 2D days, you have this 2D sonar, and you're like, okay, whatever. LiveScope is giving gives anglers the ability, like you can chase fish around.
Oh yeah.
It's not really my cup of tea, but you can chase the fish around. But you can also see when you're chasing them, you go, oh, well, they didn't go anywhere. They're just on a cycle.
Hmm.
So they're cycling through an actual spot, but that spot is actually a much larger spot where they're just cycling through it. And when you go, hey, that bite window is between 3:30 and 4:30 at that spot. Sure, it's at 3:30 and 4:30 between that spot, but 200 yards over there,
Hmm.
they go and sit on this little tiny stump,
Yeah.
and there's a handful of them, and they just move. And I'm not chasing fish around, but I've just seen it too many times now where those fish are just staging in all those different areas, not massively like far away from each
Hmm.
other, right there in kind of little nooks and crannies of spots that you never really even fished before.
Mm.
I don't know how to explain it. See, this is why it's like my mind's not clear on it, but you can sit there, and that's why you see now guys when they're fishing, they'll sit on spots for
Oh yeah.
hours
Yep.
because they have figured out that pattern. And it's just like, okay, I'm gonna hit them at that spot. They're hitting them at that spot, and they're all just staying within, like a 50-yard, 100-yard
Hmm.
circle, but they're just doing donuts
Yeah.
on this area. Whereas back in the day, you'd be like, oh, they're not on that rock pile anymore.
Hmm.
Ah, shit. Well, yeah, they just moved over there,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they're kind of just suspended.
Hmm.
And that's what they'll be for the next 2 or 3 hours, and then they'll move over. But you see it even in smaller cycles now too, where like right now, a pattern that I see with the fish, and this might just be a summertime pattern because they go up, push up shallow, but they're on like 20 to 30 minute like revolutions, uh, where they pull up shallow, they blow up on shad or whatever they're doing up at the surface or all the way up on the shore.
Hmm.
They do that for 5-10 minutes, bang, 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 and the bite is going off, and then they disappear. And you're like, where the fuck did all these fish go?
Hmm.
Well, then they just rush way back out. They're sitting now down at 20 or 30 feet eating,
Yep.
and then they'll sit there and do that for 5 to 10 minutes. Then they'll push all those shad
Back up.
back. So it's just onshore, offshore, offshore, and they're just doing that, shink, jink, 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 going from deeper, pushing them up shallow.
Hmm.
That blows apart. Then they go down. It's almost like they corral them all again.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
feed on them, and then it just slowly works itself up. And they just it's just a cycle. Almost every 20 or 30 minutes, they boom, they're there, and it's just all day long, all day long. But if you're there for that 20 minutes when they're up shallow and you're catching them, and then all of a sudden it just goes poof.
Yeah.
Well, you basically have to sit there and wait for
Hmm.
45 minutes to an hour for them to come back
Yeah.
in that same wave or whatever, or 20 minutes, it's just this cycle, too, 30 minutes. So
Yeah.
30 minutes later, they're going to be back up there. And
Damn.
then you just see it now. You can actually see it with LiveScope
Hmm.
happening.
Right.
You can be like, oh, those fish that are sitting out here,
Hmm.
I'm willing to bet you those are those same ones. And
Right.
there's instances in the past that should have pointed me to understand that a little bit better. It did, but I didn't know the level at which it's happening on. And I'm pretty naive when it comes to certain aspects of angling. That there's just so many guys that are just so well in tune, especially with summertime angling. Uh, but yeah, I remember years ago, I caught a fish on an A rig out over 90 feet of water that had a had a goddamn rat in its mouth.
Holy.
So what is that fish that's got a rat,
Yeah.
sticking out of its throat? Why is he out there busting on shad?
Hmm.
It's a fresh rat.
Hmm.
That's because 20 minutes ago he was up in the toolies like
Yeah.
bah, and probably his all of his homies were too. They
Hmm.
all pushed in shallow, then
Hmm.
they're going out there, they're chasing that bait, and they push back in shallow. And it's just now a live scope, it can really paint that picture for you if you're paying attention. You can just like, oh, okay, follow over this way, and there you see
Yeah.
the waves of them.
Are you still
So
big on using your power poles?
that's the
Okay.
best investment I've ever bought.
That's what you said a couple years ago on Nick's podcast. So I
Yeah.
wanted to touch up on that and see if I know originally you used to use the drift sock, the good old Great Lakes drift sock. So I wasn't sure
Oh
if the
yeah.
power poles are still what you use or if you're a spot lock guy or kind of how you go about that now.
No, I hate spot lock.
Mm,
I hate it. I think it puts off too many cues. Even the power poles, dude, I get really the power poles are amazing. They kind of in sandy areas, like if you can put them down in a sandy area and
yep.
you're fishing some offshore
Where they deploy and
structure,
there's like no sound.
yeah. But if
Yep.
you drop them and it's all you're
And it's
like,
yeah.
ah, shit. Yeah, it's kind of. But I still think there's so many guys that don't have power poles that it's oddly less bothersome to the fish.
Mm,
I don't know if they care as much. They know the racket's there. So if you just
mm,
let it kind of calm down for a little bit, they're quick to come back. Sometimes they don't even spook out on it. But if you have your live scope on and you drop your power pole, you're staring at a group of fish
yeah.
and you drop your power poles, you can watch them kind of like poof up and their behavior change. Like,
Right.
whoa, wait, hold on.
Alerted.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where I've seen it where I hit them with the beam on the live scope and they're like, peace, soup, and they just shoop, they're out of there. Like they get hit and they're just like, ah, it's like getting caught with a, spotlight in the middle of the
Mhm.
night with your pants down or something. They're like, oh
Yeah.
shit, they just jam out. Like, so the power poles, I mean, you can't beat it. You just can't beat it when it comes to if you want to sit there and actually take your time on a spot and be not as intrusive. Like once the poles are down, you're pretty much good to go and you're locked in. You're getting the maximum amount out of your cast. Like it's just the best. Nothing beats though, just slowly creeping in on a spot
Mhm.
without touching a trolling motor, hitting that spot. If you only got a cast or two on it and just sliding in there. Nothing beats that. That's the best thing.
Right.
No noises, the wind's blowing you into the spot. And I think that's probably the most productive way. Um, Anchoring up, that's a great way too. I
Mhm.
love the anchor. It's just kind of a bitch.
Yeah, right.
You got to dump out a lot of anchor and to make it happen, but it's paid off for some big fish. And I took that from Butch started talking about anchoring up years ago, and I was like, yeah, I just need to not be lazy because there's
Mhm.
plenty of spots that I should have anchored on,
Mhm.
but I would just like, I'm not doing it. And it allows you to fish some offshore spots that you normally would just get blown right on past because it's always like a windy spot or
Yeah.
something like that. And you're trying to make a cast. And I don't want to be on my trolling motor facing into the wind, just
Mhm. Yeah.
trying to make a 80-foot cast. It's like, no, I need the wind in my back so I can bomb that thing out 120 feet and, actually get the distance between the fish and my boat. Because
Mhm.
I just feel like once they start getting close to the boat, they're less and less inclined to bite. At least the
Yeah.
fish here in Southern California. Other fisheries, it does blow my mind sometimes where I'm like, bro, they ate right at the boat.
Mhm.
Shocking to me.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
trolling
Yeah.
motor on. I'm
Hitting them.
clicking the power poles like turning the power poles up, and I'm turning on the trolling motor, and then you're just like, oh shit, right there.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah.
Wow.
So
Where did you just like, I guess when you were using the drift sock with your old boat, was that something that maybe some local guy was talking about, or you had seen like him throwing a bucket overboard with a rope to slow himself down, or was that, just through your own research you found it, you're like, okay, I could probably utilize this in some way in some of my spots. Because when you mentioned that, I was like, wow, I didn't even know that it's huge out here, but I guess I didn't. I guess I either realized that other people did do it, or it was just nothing that got past the Great Lakes because it wasn't really utilized anywhere else.
I can't remember who told me about using it. I was making a complaint uh, to a dude that had been fishing for somebody not local to here.
Mm.
So I'm not sure who it was. It could have been my father,
Mm.
but I feel like it may have been, and it's more to a Great Lakes area. I feel like it may have been Nate from Nate's Baits
Okay, yeah, yeah.
that mentioned like, oh, dude, you should just get a drift sock. But it may have been my old buddy Greg Ross too. You know, guys that have been around longer
Mhm.
where they've gone through those earlier throes
Yeah,
of, swim bait fishing or bass fishing when
mm,
technology wasn't as much of the focus. You're using a fucking drift sock.
yeah, yeah.
Like use a drift sock to slow you down in your aluminum boat, and it slows you down massively.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
in my 16-foot tracker, you'd get ripping at like 3.5, 4 miles an hour. You can't when the wind's blowing. You
Mhm.
can't even try. You're trying to keep up with that cast. You can't.
Yeah.
You throw that drift sock out. Now you're moving like a mile and a half an hour. Like
Mhm.
you're like a glass boat out there.
Yeah, yeah.
You're much slower.
Hmm.
So it's nice.
Yeah.
Yep. No, the drift sock's sick. I still have it in the boat right now, just
Really.
in case I get to that point of frustration where I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
nah. But the power poles kind of help that
Hmm.
now. But this is how my brain always works. I'm like, I think they make those things that you can slide onto power poles, and I just haven't researched. I haven't taken any time. That can kind of act almost like a drift sock, right?
Yeah,
Do
yeah,
they
I
make
think I know
that?
what you're talking
Do they
about.
make
Yeah,
something
like
like
a
that?
parachute almost that you slide through them.
Yeah, I need something like that. That I just kick down the power poles like halfway, and then
Yeah.
it almost
Just
acts like a
catch.
sail.
Yep.
It just
Yeah.
kind of, yeah, just slows you down a little bit. Because I love the aluminum, but I hate the speed at which they get blown around in the wind, dude. It's like, you have a buddy in a glass boat, and you're trying to talk to them in an aluminum boat. You're doing donuts, you're doing all kinds of stuff, and they're just like sitting there all calm and relaxed, and
Yeah.
you're just like, oh, I'm trying to hold on. Yeah, yeah, aluminum boats, you can bang them up, you can do whatever. You're pretty stealthy for the most part on stuff, but damn, when that wind kicks up, you're getting your ass kicked.
Was it a hard day for you to sell your tracker, or were you just kind of like over it, you were ready for the next boat, a little bit bigger, more dance floor, that sort of thing, more room for storage and whatnot?
It wasn't a hard sell because it was going to Jason Corden Bass Jack, so
Mhm.
I knew he would treat it right. And I've
Right.
told him time and time again, I say, hey, dude, if you're gonna get rid of the boat, I'll buy it back from you
Right. Yeah.
because I would buy it back and just keep it,
Hmm.
maybe revamp it, add
Yeah.
a few things to it here and there, clean it up, and yeah, there is some sentimental value to it, but it's in good hands too, and
Hmm.
it's caught. What's wild about that little bass tracker, it's caught a lot of big fish.
Yeah.
It's caught a lot of big fish. It's had a lot of big fish in that live well. And that's something people also don't know about those boats. Those boats have incredibly, for the size of the boats, they
Hmm.
have incredibly large live
Yeah.
wells in them. So something I always take into consideration when buying the boat is like, oh, what's that live well size like? Because I
Hmm.
hate the little square box where it's like
Yeah.
you catch a 10-pounder and the tail's sticking out
Hmm.
of it. You're like,
Looks like it's at a
kind of
sushi bar.
nonsense is
Yeah.
that? Yeah, yeah, dude. It's like, what kind of nonsense is that? No, the fish, if you're gonna put them in the live well, you want to make sure you take care of them. So they need
Mhm.
enough space to kind of hang out in there comfortably. And that tracker had a
Yeah.
beast of
That
one.
was that was one of the
It's
big wide
still kicking.
lockers, right?
Jason's still using it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like the old style big locker where like you
Yeah.
picked up the whole hatch and it was like 30 inches by like 12 inches.
Yep. Yep. And that's what my the aluminum Ranger has on it. It's
Okay.
a big wide
Yeah.
thing. It does have set up to be a divider,
Yeah,
but
the
that
divider.
divider that it comes out instantly, and there's not like a real narrowing. It's just two little slots on the
Mhm.
side that you put the
Yeah.
divider in. But you see some of the more glass boats where it's like, what in the world is going on
Yeah.
here? They're just tiny little
Have you ever
live wells.
seen
So,
I think it's the Bass Cats where it's like the triangle doors and you open it up and like you can only
hmm
get half your arm in there and then you got to chase the fish around in the two small boxes. Like I look at those designs and I'm like, it's interesting, I guess. I don't know, maybe some guys like that, but that is always like that's just going for a cool design, I guess. I don't know. I guess I'm not a boat designer, so I can't say.
yeah, yeah, I'm not familiar enough with it. I know that they'll. I think a lot of them now are starting to get little. I would hope so. Some of these damn boats are like little mini yachts, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
21, 22 foot, the type of stuff. I'd hope you have a adequate sized live well back there. But I mean, you can't. I love the aluminum, but you can't beat a glass boat if you're trying to get out on bigger water and actually fish. Like the way in which I fish, if I'm going to a lake, like say I go to Clear Lake and I'm committing to it, and that weather gets nastier,
Mm.
the difference in how my aluminum runs
Oh yeah.
through those waves versus the guys in a 20-foot glass boat or 21-foot glass boat
Mhm.
is just night and day. I get my ass kicked and I just look at them and they're like
Yeah.
just blasting through it. Where when I'm hitting those waves, oof,
Boom,
it's
boom.
just bam.
Slipping a disc
Oh
in your
yeah.
back. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Damn, damn. Everything's rattling loose and yeah, but so that was if I get somewhere where it's just like, hey, you really only have big water, I'll have to go into a glass boat because you just need it. You need
Yeah.
to be able to fish when the weather is getting turbulent at
Mhm.
times, not be like, well, I think the wind's gonna be faster than 10 miles an hour today, so I gotta stay home. Like,
Right.
no, you gotta be able to get out there and fish.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of that boat having big fish, do you have a replica mount of your 17 or no?
no.
No. Is that
No,
something
it's
that you
never
would
really been
do or
something
no?
that like
Mm.
I've never really cared about that. I mean, maybe if I, get a shop or something like that, I
Yeah.
would do it, but it's really not that important to me.
Mm.
Like I've never been a huge fan of the replica. Like, bro, I got the memories. I got
Mhm.
the video footage of it. I have the photos. Like that's kind of enough for me,
Yeah.
you know? And I don't know, it's like it's not really the fish, which is a good thing. It's not really the fish. It's just a replica. And there's something with like authenticity of it. I'm like, well, if
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not the actual mold of the
Mhm.
fish, it's just like, what does it really matter?
Right. Yeah, the
You know?
dimensions
So
that you pulled off
I
of
get
it.
why guys do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, I don't have any replicas, none at all.
Mm. Do you
So
still have the bait? I assume you still probably have the bait on a peg wall
yeah,
somewhere. Yeah.
it's hanging right there.
Okay. I figured at the
Yep.
very least you had that bait set aside somewhere. Maybe it was in a
Are you
box,
wanting
but
me
you
to
did
are
have
you
it.
wanting me to grab it?
If you want to, I don't care.
Are you,
I figured that you had it set aside. I wasn't sure if you'd still be fishing it or if you lost it, a couple casts later because you're
I'm
like,
like
I'll catch another one.
I don't want to because it's a hinkle, so I haven't touched it in a long time. I don't want the fins and shit to disintegrate. So I'm like, I don't know if
Disintegrate.
I actually want to touch it. It's
No,
just
no, you're good.
the one of the originals,
Yeah.
like Hinkles is a great bait,
Mm.
sick bait.
Does the one that you screwed the hole through for the GoPro mount, does that one still swim good? Or was that just like I'm doing it for the shot and then that's it? Or was it like a dud that Andrew had that you could mess with?
No, it wasn't a dud. And so there's some risk, like risk and reward. So you sacrifice a bait because you know the shot is going to be sick.
Oh, it was
That just comes with the
iconic.
territory.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it comes with the territory. But if I remember correctly, and now I have that bait somewhere. Oh, it's up there. I see it. It's
Mhm.
sealed up in a little bag up in a Tupperware bin. Uh, I can see right now the joint is like tweaked.
Mm,
So that was the old screw eye when he used to put screw eyes in them instead.
yeah.
And I caught several fish on them. And then one of the screw eyes like bent really bad on one of the fish. I think it kind of tweaked it. And I tried to redo. Basically, I fucked it up because I didn't
Yeah,
ask
yeah.
him to do the repair. And I've tried to put a different screw eye in there and it kind of never swam the same again.
Hmm.
So I was like, oh, this is a perfect sacrifice. It will still swim, but it was like a
Right.
perfect sacrificial lamb for the shot, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So
I mean, this is going back a while now. When you did the battles trout, like when you had that, and then now looking at the time right now, was like one of your main things was trying to make the Tyrant a little bit easier to rig. I mean, if you guys want a good laugh, go back to the video of you and Manny on FaceTime, and you're trying to help him rig his up, and he's like, I don't know if I'm doing this right, dude. And you're like, no, it'll be okay. It'll be okay. You just got to make sure you do this part right. And was that something that you kind of wanted to make a little bit easier on a future bait? And then now the Tyrant is, maybe it's not easy for a lot of guys, but it is definitely a lot easier than having a 3 30-second drill bit, having the wire, the crimpers, the sleeves, and all that stuff like there was at one point in time.
Well, yeah, and I mean, if there's anything a soft bait guy can learn from a lot of this stuff, and there's major implications of the screw eye on the Tyrant or on the battle shots. There's a lot of stuff that, the reason why I think that screw eye is a preferred method uh, is because you can pre-make your wire
Hmm.
and just slide it on
Yeah.
to that nose, and then you tie it to the wire. Because of lessons learned in the past, there's been great baits that end up just flopping
Mm.
because though they are great, they're not great enough to encourage guys to deal with the nonsense of having to re-rig them.
Yeah.
But we all know baits that have done well. So like the uh the trout, the battles trout,
Hmm.
guys would re-rig it, but it was gnarly for them.
Oh
There's
yeah.
a
Yeah.
lot to rigging that bait.
Yeah.
Okay. Bait smiths, guys will, or hog hunters, guys will re-rig those,
Mm.
but you gotta have a certain rig. It takes time
Yeah.
to do it. Thumper tails, Butch's thumper tail,
Mhm.
that was a great bait. But something I always thought held it back is the fact that it required the guys to do the whole
The
wire
wire.
and
Yep.
crimping thing
And
as
measuring it
its
out and
main
stuff.
hook.
Yeah.
Yep. And so on the water, though I may enjoy that stuff or I may prep that in,
Yeah. Yeah.
like, oh, I'll just do a bunch of it.
Hmm.
Most guys want to just take a bait out of the package and fish it. I mean, that's one of the holdbacks uh, with a lot of my baits right now that are hollow and they fish on a beast hook. There's a lot of guys that struggle even just loading a beast hook into the baits.
Yeah.
Most dudes want to just, and I think it's slightly changing. So let me preface it with that. I think it's slightly changing, but most anglers have way more confidence if that bait is already pre-rigged for
Mhm.
them and it's just got a jig hook sticking off the top or it has a couple treble hooks hanging from the bottom.
Yeah.
So I try to take that into consideration now, but at the same time, I'm not going to sacrifice how I fish the actual fucking bait.
Hmm.
It's like, I don't believe in that jig hook nonsense, so
Yeah.
I'm not going to make that presentation. If there
Mhm.
comes a time where I go, hey, that's viable and that's how I fish the bait, sure, I'll offer it that way. But as of right now, I offer baits how I fish them.
Yeah. Did you
Did
see
I
it?
even answer your question, or did I just go on some wild
No,
curveball right there?
it was more so less like, did you try to make the Tyrant a little bit more user friendly than the battles trout? And I mean, if anybody goes and watches that video I referenced with Manny, they're gonna realize, oh my gosh, maybe we don't have it so bad with the Tyrant. Like maybe I just need to buckle down and watch this rigging video because if you watch that one from a couple years ago, people are gonna be like, oh my gosh, we have come a long ways, Mr. Gilbert. Thank you.
I'll explain this. So this is the problem with here's the problem with the Tyrant for a lot of guys. They don't understand. Okay, so there can be manufacturer error,
Mhm.
but more often than not, it's user error. They're expecting a performance when they're not doing the right modifications to the bait. So let's say they fish the bait, and this is an example I can reference a lot. They fished the bait in February, and the bait was floating just fine for them. Well, they didn't fish the bait again for a couple of months, and they go out, and now the bait's not fishing the same way it did before. They're not understanding that their water temps might be 10 degrees
Yeah.
warmer now. So their line is going to behave different floating on top of the water. The bait's going to float different. So they didn't make any changes to the bait. They kept it the exact same way that they were fishing it a couple months earlier, and the water temps and conditions were totally different. And then they hit me up and go, hey, I'm having issues with my bait doing this. And you're like, okay, can you explain it? And then oftentimes you have to go, hey, it's because you have too much weight in there now, or you don't have enough weight. A lot of times it's you don't have enough weight. It's rolling on its side. I have it rigged everywhere,
Yeah.
every way I'm supposed to. Hey, did you watch the video? Yeah, I watched the video. Okay, where are your weights at in the bait? Well, I don't
Hmm.
have any weights on it. I just have the hook on the belly. No,
Hmm.
you got it. You're gonna have to put a few weights in it, and so it kind of helps. And I've had it, um, just like fixing baits on the water for guys, where they tell you one thing and you actually have the bait in your hand and you go, well, that's not true. I'm looking at it right now. You have a lot of weight packed into
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
thing. Let's take some of this weight out and see if it will actually float. Then
Hmm.
it's like, oh, yeah, it floats. So it is complicated, but I tell people that it's complicated. I
Yeah.
tell them, if you don't have experience in modifying baits, don't buy this bait unless you want to
Hmm.
fish it just on a beast hook.
Right.
You know, so
Yeah.
I'm transparent about it. I
Hmm.
know there's a bit to jump through on the bait, but that's how I fish the baits. I feel like it's, imagine if I made the bait and then every time you saw me fishing it, I went, oh yeah, but these are just my own special version that I don't
Nobody
actually
else.
fish. It's like, no,
Yeah.
yeah, that's how I actually fish the bait. And I'm transparent of like, hey, I put the weights here. Sure, I'll do little modifications here, but it's not a secret. It's just like, oh, I want the bait to sit a little bit more tail heavy. I'll add a little weight in the tail. Oh, I want it to be a little bit more nose heavy. Oh, I'll add a little bit weight up there. It's just tweaking the bait to do exactly what you want.
Hmm.
Bait makers should understand that aspect. Anglers need to understand that there's more forces applying to the bait than just stupid plastic and a hook.
Yeah.
There's so many forces that are applying: water temps, air temps, wind direction. Like there's a lot of things that uh, make a bait perform differently, and you have to have the willingness to adjust for it, and
Hmm.
then understand that. Make note of that. Oh, dude, when it's like 80 degrees out, this is how that timer will fish.
Hmm.
Oh, my overnight lows dropped to 37. My water temp is 45 now. Like, holy shit.
Hmm.
Like, I really got to lighten this bait up.
Yeah.
And it's, really lighten it up.
Hmm.
So, and the bigger the bait, so the 10 is way easier to modify than the 8 because it's a much bigger bait. It's only 2 inches longer, but volume wise, there's like three Tyrant 8s, 3.5 Tyrant 8s to
Hmm.
equivalent to one Tyrant 10. Just the overall, there's a certain equation for it, but the overall volume of a Tyrant 10 is so much more. So you can go from a, you know, whatever, 3/16 ounce to a 3/8 ounce or something
Yeah.
like that, 3/32 ounce. And it doesn't have the same impact as on a Tyrant 8. You go from like uh this size tungsten
Hmm.
nail to like just the slightest one. And you're going, what the fuck, dude? There's
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
huge variance. It's
Hmm.
because it affects it that much more.
No, yeah, I understand that. And another question that I actually had written down was when you just re-released the Battle Shads and obviously the Citizens got re-released like what, 2 years ago? Year and a half ago? Something like
Two
that?
years ago almost.
2 years ago. The like the premiere for the Headcase harness was that the first rendition of it or like the new rendition of the bait had the Headcase harness is probably how I should say that. Did you notice a lot less people pissing and moaning on, oh my gosh, I messed up this bait because I don't know how to rig it, like this is too hard. I don't know how to use a screw lock. I don't know if I should center punch the nose or if I put the beginning of the screw lock on the nose. Like, did you see those, whether they were posted on forums or emails or stuff? Did you see that kind of problems cut down when you introduce the head case harness?
On the Citizen
Yeah, yeah, Citizen or the Battle Shad,
or
either
on the
one.
Battleship.
Yeah, just in general, really.
Yeah. Yes, but then so you have that. So not so introducing the head case harness on the bait solves some problems, but it can create new problems for some guys.
Mm.
So the new problem is, before guys might not line the bait up correctly. Now I'm forcing them to line it up correctly, but uh, guys can break off their screw eyes in the
Hmm.
bait, and there's no getting it out. Once you snap it
Yeah,
off in
yeah.
there, you've basically sealed off the hole. So
When you break
that's
your
an
key
issue.
off
It's
in the
not a ton,
ignition,
but
same thing.
yep, yeah. So that issue can happen. Occasionally, if there's like a manufacturer defect where the plastic doesn't bond to the head case harness as it should. It can just rip out. So that's like these are problems that arise from adding new tech into the bait. But I think over the grander scheme, it's a far superior product. And that's why we see other guys trying to steal it and implement it into their baits, is because though they may have been a part of peanut galleries initially online, talking about how it negatively impacts their hookup ratios or whatever it might be, at the end of the day, I don't believe any of that nonsense.
Yeah.
The bait works just fine with a head case harness in it. You just can't have a bitch ass hook set. You got to have
And
a good hook set.
yeah, and you're not blowing noses out. You don't have to worry about screwing up. I mean, literally all you have to do is open up the eyelet and then line the hook up on the back. Lining up the hook on the back is the hardest part of the whole process. And if you're not good at that, it's really not that hard to mend it back up, let it sit for 10 minutes and redo it. It's not like it's the end of the world.
Yep.
I mean, unless you're trying to open up the beast hook eye, then that might be a problem. But but no, it's
I
pretty
saw the screenshot you sent me. Yeah, I saw it where I was like, oh, I didn't even understand because it never opening up the beast hook eye never has crossed my mind. But I'm not
yeah.
that happens. So yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, this type of stuff does has to happen with like anglers where it might be laughable to everybody else, but actually put yourself in their perspective for a
Yeah.
second. They don't fucking know.
Mhm.
They're just trying to wing it. And if it's not kind of most of these guys, we all have an advantage because we're really plugged into the scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you understand the information. There's things that guys do that I go, why in the world would you do that? And you kind of take a step back and you're like, okay, let me try and see this shit from their perspective.
Hmm.
Oh, okay. Maybe they misinterpreted what I said a little bit, but carrying on what you're saying, yeah, as long as you have a little bit of patience and you can mend the back shut,
Yeah.
you're good to go on the baits. You're gonna blow them out.
Hmm.
You just mend them, let them chill. That's why I
Hmm.
often, it sounds horrible for me to say it as a bait manufacturer. I'm like, yeah, don't just buy one bait, buy
Right.
two, buy three. If you have the option to get them, any soft bait, you want to have a couple of them rigged up so that you can mend them, fix them. And while you're letting that one cure, you're
Hmm.
fishing the other one. And you just keep it in a little bit of a rotation and a cycle. Rig all of them up how you want to fish them. And then you catch some fish on it, it does some damage, mend it, set it aside, tie on the other one, keep fishing while that one's curing on the deck. Mend it goes a long way, or SB weld, any soft bait glue that's pliable
Yeah.
that will weld that plastic back together. That's what you want to use. It'll save you tons and tons and tons of money. Or now there's some of those like electric pens. I think
Yeah.
Caesar Toxic Baits, he's selling some stuff
Hmm.
like that. Uh, any of that stuff, but you have to allow some time for that
Yeah.
plastic to actually cool down and bond. If you do not give, even if you do the welding with the electric pen type of deal, whatever it is, if you weld it and then just stick the hook right back through the bait, bro, it's gonna rip out super easy. Let
Hmm.
that bait cure. The molecules stop moving around in there. You don't want it to be gooey when you're sticking your
Yeah.
hook back through. Let that thing chill. Let it completely solidify again, and then fish it.
Hmm.
I'll make the baits last just so much longer, so
Yeah.
much longer.
Yeah, and I mean, I take the SB Weld with me, and then I also am gonna buy one of those pens just because, like, well, if I'm on the water, I'll probably, if I only have one bait, then I'll just heat it all back up, and then when I get home, I mean, I sent you a picture a couple weeks ago of those gutter toads that I had just sitting on my desk, waiting for the mend it to dry so I could take it back out the next day. It's just, I don't know, it's they both have their time and place, and I've preached it before. If you buy the mended, the weld, there's another one out there too. But if you buy that stuff, what's it like $12 a bottle? I don't even remember what it is, but it's gonna last you. I've had this bottle for 2 years, and I've had a set of poor original style Misfit Citizens that have been welded back together. I don't know how many times over again, cutting Senkos and jamming them in the nose and welding them in there, and they're still kicking. It's not like it's a I don't know. People I think get in this perception of, oh, a soft bait only lasts like four fish and then it's done. Like I don't want to spend my $60 on that. And it's like, no, dude, like if you take care of it, as long as you don't lose the bait, you're gonna be able to put it back together. It's Humpty Dumpty. They put them back together. That's what you're gonna be able to do with a soft bait.
And dude, this was a trip is like people are willing to, spend 20 bucks at, Jersey Mike's and they're going to shit it out 3 hours, 4 hours later but they spend $60 on a soft bait and they don't want to have to do any
Mm.
maintenance on it. And you're like, bro, you're gonna fish that soft bait if you take care of it for years,
Yeah.
like literally years, and it's $60 versus the Jersey Mikes that you shit out 4 hours later,
Hmm.
5 hours later. Like, like that's how I look at this stuff. Is
Yeah.
like, hey, how does that go? But something I was talking about to you recently is like, and this is with like, so on the gutter toads, this will just be a screw lock style bait. The most detrimental thing that dudes can do if they're fishing any beast hook style bait that doesn't have a head case harness, it's just a screw lock on it or centering pin, whatever. Every company calls it something
Yeah.
different, but
Yeah.
the little screw that you twist into the head of the bait. One, you want to make sure you're pushing into the bait when you're twisting it on. But the thing that is a bait killer, it will blow the nose out faster than anything, is letting that fish thrash around on the side of the bait, or you're bouncing a fish into the boat and that fish is flopping around. That bait is just getting whipped around by just the nose. That's a bait killer. And the
Mhm.
little fish are the worst at it. We
Yeah.
all know that. They just. So don't let fish thrash around. Let those bad boys do whatever you got to do. Stop them from shaking, and that will save you tons of soft baits. And I'm not just talking about my soft baits in general. Do not let your fish thrash around. That's how baits get destroyed. I mean, you'll break hard baits that same way, letting that fish
Oh yeah.
thrash around, but you got you got to, like, we don't need these little guys flat thrashing around everywhere. Like, nah,
Mhm.
grab them little bastards, hold them, save yourself a lot of heartache by not letting them thrash around.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Exactly.
save your noses on your bait. Like,
Right.
dude, I say it like filming. I'm like, this guy's gonna be a bait killer. You bringing in a fish, and you just see this little dude tail walking,
Yeah.
going,
Yeah.
tick, 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 tick. And then of course you go to grab him, and he's flopping around. You're like, that bait's toast. And I think I even do it in one clip. I'm like, that bait's toast. And then literally half a second later, you see it go
Boop.
bing up, and it becomes a line through. So it's just what it is. But you just try and save baits that way of, hey, just take care of them,
Yeah.
mend them if you need to,
Hmm.
do all that other stuff. Uh, there's a lot of other things that apply with soft baits that guys don't realize. I mean, I did it back in the day, like on Baitsmith. You could do it with your paddle tail baits. You know, say you get a bait that it's not kicking how you want. This one's pretty floppy, but let's see if I have another one that's not as floppy. Yeah, so like this
Yeah.
one. So
Yep.
these baits are packed full of additives. I don't know. Does it show better if I put my
Yeah.
hand in
Yeah.
front of
There you
it?
go. Yeah. That's good.
So you can see where this one it's still fine compared to a lot of soft baits out there.
Mhm.
It's a soft plastic. But say I want that tail to kick a little bit better. I'm just gonna stretch that tail out. I'm not trying to rip the tail off.
Mhm.
You do this with any soft baits out there on the market. If they're a little bit stiff, they're made of plastisol,
Mhm.
not some of that crazy never tear, never stretch, never ever bullshit that I don't believe in, or silicone. Silicone's not going to work this way either, but the plastisol, you just stretch it out. And now look at that tail.
Holy crap! It's touching itself now. It was at a 90-degree angle for you guys not watching. Now it's touching itself. That's crazy.
Yeah, just gently stretching it out. And that bait is going to kick a lot better on a slower retrieve if that's what you're preferring.
Yeah.
And I used to do the same thing with Baitsmith, Huds. You know, it's a plastisol. There's gonna be slight inconsistencies of it. You get one, I'd be in there cutting little tiny razor blade marks into it to kind of free up and I love doing all that stuff back in the day. And you could do it. I think the best way to probably reference it that you'll understand it, Adrian, is you're talking about those old misfit citizens that you've welded
Oh
together
yeah. Yeah.
a ton, right?
Yeah.
Those old baits that are all chewed up that are still somehow thriving.
Hmm.
And when you're like, all right, I got my girl, she's all fixed up again.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna fuck them up. Because that bait gets bit.
Yeah.
But those baits typically are like, they're rugged looking, but
Barely
dude,
holding
they just
on.
like feel like mush in your hand. They're super soft.
Hmm.
So you can kind of do the same thing with a fresh bait right out of the package. Is just kind of massage it out, loosen up some of that bait right out of the gates.
Yeah.
You can get right to it, you know, with your soft plastic. And I'm not talking about, that's just a tip in general for guys, because I love soft bait fishing. So trying to encourage other guys. I want them to have success fishing
Yeah.
it too. So you can tweak a lot of baits by simply just massaging it out in your hand, dude, and you
Right.
get a
Yeah.
lot more out of a bait.
Right.
Yeah.
For the gutter toad video, are we gonna get like the reintroduction of the citizen video, or are you breaking it down into the rigging and the catching like the tyrant video was?
I'm probably just gonna put it all together as one.
Yeah.
Uh, Keep it simple. It's like the tyrant one was that. I think that would have been like a 50-minute
Right.
long.
Yeah.
You're battling with two things. You're the attention span of guys
Hmm.
and like so it's like how do you do it? And so I think what I'm going to try and do is just keep this one nice and condensed, put the information that needs to be in there, show some fish catches, but leave room for expanding onto other ways I fish the bait as well. I'm gonna this video is gonna come out just purely focused on what the initial
Hmm.
intention was for the bait,
Right.
and then have other videos follow up after that expand on it. And in this initial drop, go, hey, this is how I like to fish it, and this is how I rig it. Here's some fish catches. It's that simple. This is the intention of the bait. Like keep it pretty simple because there's a lot of guys that fail to watch the entire video because they're either unaware of it, but I think they just don't have the attention span to sit there and watch a
Mhm.
20-minute rigging video.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
like, I mean, I'm going back to the other video next. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Time
I
to
get it.
time to watch them catch fish
I
on
get
it
it. I do the
now.
same thing. Yeah, yeah. I do the same thing with some other thing. I'm like to scan through. I'm like, get to the part I need, and then you're like, what? You just get distracted.
Yeah.
So
What,
yeah.
well, I guess you'll talk about that. Well, I guess just to go over it quick, what rod are you fishing your gutter toads on? Are you fishing all the sizes on the same rod, whether it's like your light rod or like what's the gutter toad setup for you?
Uh Basically just like a good all around frog rod is decent, but it's not really so the rod I'm actually fishing like the 5 inch on is the DRT Hacker, which just I guess was designed as like a swim jig rod,
Mm,
but it also operates as a pretty good frog rod. It
mm,
performs just like a frog rod. I fish it on straight braid. Um, I'm fishing it on Power Pro with the what is it called? The Shimano Xsense. Uh, Trying to think of all the stuff. So 5 inch I fish on the Hacker with the Shimano Xsense with braid. Power Pro 50 or 60 pound Power Pro on that with the varial handle, 95 millimeter varial handle, and the EVA
mm,
foam flat knobs. The 6 inch, you can kind of get away with it on two different things. So I can fish on the medium heavy
mm.
uh, Form 1 rods, or I can also fish it on the DRT Border Patrol rod. It kind of depends on what my application is.
Mm.
If I'm going to be fishing it on the bottom, which we're not going to talk about it in that, it's
Yeah.
not going to be in the new video, but you can bottom bounce the bait as well. On straight fluoro, I'm on the Form 1 rod. If I'm fishing it up top right now, primarily using the Border Patrol. And that's kind of sounds wild, I think, to a lot of people, but that's a badass little rod. Uh, those are my setups, and that's why it's like a little bit uncomfortable for
Right.
me because I think it's a bait that most guys can just throw on their standard issue rods. They're
Yeah.
not ultra heavy
Mm-mm.
baits. The 5 inch you can throw on anything. You got a frog rod, you're gonna throw it just fine.
Mm.
Fishing on braid if you're fishing it up top. That's kind of the gist of it. The
Yeah.
4 inch, you could throw it on any rod.
Any rod.
6 inch, that's where you're getting into that. Yeah, but you could throw it on, but you get into a little bit like you definitely do need something that can drive that hook because there's
Mhm.
a lot of plastic that you need to move a hook and
Yeah.
get some penetration going in that mouth of the fish. So, I mean, what do you throw? What did you throw the 6 inch on?
I throw it on an 806, just a 2 to 8 ounce rod that I use for everything. I use it for my seven
Yeah,
inch citizens, and I use it for my tiny clashes or glideways. That's pretty much my everything rod. And I had no I don't think I think I maybe shook one fish off, but it kind of got me in a
Was
weird
it
spot.
you had braid on it? Was it
Yeah,
braid or
yeah.
fluoro?
Braid. So I
Yeah.
have the 65 pound Power Pro. I don't know. And that was the thing you and I had talked about too, was like the different braids and kind of how the fish or how the bait will kind of start to swim a little bit different after fishing it for a couple hours when that braid starts to take on water and whatnot. And I'm sure you kind of touch on that stuff a little bit or mention it a little bit throughout the video whenever we're gonna get that. But
Yeah, make sure you actually have floating braid
yeah.
because some of the guys out there might be fishing some braid that's sinking. It's pulling that
Mhm.
bait down. You're like, no, you make sure your line is floating. If you're wanting to have a top water application, you need to make sure your braid is floating. Otherwise, you might as well be fishing fluoro,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep. Exactly. Is there anything else? Do you have like an idea of when maybe the gutter toad video will drop? Are you gonna drop the video like a couple weeks before the bait so it can kind of marinate and keep people can decide that they want to pick them up or whatnot? Talk about it, I guess.
Yeah, so I'm hoping to do the drop really soon here. I'm gonna have the video out before it, so I have a lot of work ahead of me right now. All next week, I have to get this video done because the drop is right around the corner. I've been busting my ass trying to catch up on some battle shad painting and all that. So my wife and I just finally packaged up, eyeballed and packaged up all the baits yesterday. I spent all day doing that yesterday. So now I'm free and clear to spend, 4 or 5 days editing out this video so that we can be ready for the drop. And I'll just drop it a few days in advance I'll release the video a few days in
Yeah.
advance of the drop, uh, for the most part, especially the subscribers for the guys in the subscription service. And then there'll be a email that goes out to the masses as well
Do you already
for the
have your
drop.
song?
So
Do you already have your song picked out and everything for the video?
I'm not doing a song. It's just
Okay.
raw dog, like
Okay.
just the sound of the wind, the casting,
Right.
and me bitching and moaning and complaining about stuff. That's pretty much what it is.
And Jeff giggling
Just
like a
like the
schoolgirl in the
tyrant, the
background.
tyrant catching.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, his little Hey, it's fun, right? You're supposed to have fun when you're out there fishing and
Oh
like
yeah.
have a good time. I know it's stressful. You got a lot at stake, if you're out there fishing, if you're on the road and things aren't working out how you want them to, it can get a little bit stressful. But I'm trying to remind some of the dudes sometimes, it's easy to get caught up in like, oh, this shit's whack unless you're catching giant fish
Mhm.
all the time. I've caught plenty of big fish. It's nice just to go, hey, I just want to go catch some fish.
Yeah.
And I want to have a good time doing it. I'm not stressing. If I catch a big one while I'm doing it, great. But I love a good top water bite. I love a good frog bite.
Mhm.
The explosions, you know, the violence that's kind of associated to think that there's this dude down there. He's just like,
Yeah.
bam. And imagine my bait as being some little terrestrial creature that's just like, oh, I'm doing whatever. And then a bass just smokes it. It's just fun. And you can appreciate just how wild of creatures they are when they're back flipping out of the water, just trying to do stuff. It's
Yeah.
just fun. It's just good times. You catch a big one while doing it, great.
Mhm.
And if that's your goal, yeah, maybe upsize. Go with that six
Yeah.
size to get the bigger fish attention. But for the most part, yeah, just going out there trying to have fun with the bait. I stress hard enough during the winter months for the big fish
Mhm.
that during the summertime, I'm not worried about trying to catch a 27-inch paper thin
Yeah.
6 pounder.
Right.
Yeah, so that happens. Every time I catch a big fish in the summer, you're like, dude, that's a oh god, that thing is so emaciated where
Mm.
you got a 26, 27-inch fish that weighs 6 pounds, 7 pounds. You're just like, oof. Not saying there's not big ones to be had in
Right.
Southern California in the summertime. It's just been my experience is every time I've caught big fish in the summertime here, it's always just, man, they're just like little wind sails,
Mhm.
just paper thin.
Right. Yeah. Heck yeah.
I'm talking so much, my cigarette keeps going out.
Was there
I'm
anything
like, I gotta relight it just like grandma.
was there anything that you wanted to talk about that we didn't touch on or anything that you were like expecting me to ask you that you were kind of ready to dive into?
No, well, if I bring it up, then I look like I'm a complainer. But if you were to bring something up, I look like I'm just answering your question. So I'm not going to bring up anything like I just got to get this off my chest, bro.
Uh, I'm
I
trying to
mean,
think.
what other questions do you have?
I don't know. Like that's the thing.
Anything?
Like you and I talk a decent amount, so it's not like I mean, if I have a question, I just shoot you a text or I call you or whatever else it may be. So it's not like I don't know, like all the questions I had today were stuff that you'd kind of start talking about a story and it would pop into my mind like, oh, I want to hear how he went about this or how he goes about that. Let's think of a fun one. What can I ask you? That's fun off the cuff here. Are you gonna make a hard bait?
I mean, I don't have any interest into it. And I mean, the reason why I don't have any interest in it right now because I don't have any specific designs.
Mm,
I'll partner with somebody that is that and just expand on a bait they might already be offering.
mhm.
But there's nothing that I'm going to bring to the table right now that isn't already out there on the market.
Right.
And I feel like if you're going to put something else out there, it needs to add something new, not just eat off somebody else's plate.
Hmm.
Like, make your own fucking plate, bro.
Hmm.
Don't go over there and go, oh, well, I can make my own version of this same bait.
Hmm.
I don't think you want to, me personally, I want to try to contribute to anglers having more success by offering them something that's different than what already exists out there. And so in the hard bait realm, I don't have anything in my brain right now that is going to be something that's new. So there's no point in me doing it.
Yeah.
Soft baits, I have ideas. I've kind of carved my own like niche. I built my own plate out there.
Hmm.
There's other guys that are trying to do, similar things. Uh, I think that's the thing. I wish there's so much people could have so much creativity if they stop staring at other people's shit and actually go and fish and pay attention to what's going on out there. You know, I wish more creators, bait makers, spent more time on the water.
Mm,
A lot. It baffles me that there are some guys that create swim baits that don't even fucking fish.
mm,
I don't understand it because to me, it's all about passion. I'm creating things that I want to actually fish.
yeah.
So if you're not doing that, you're purely doing it from a standpoint of like, oh, I need that product in my line. I need that product in my line.
Mhm.
Do you really? I don't know. You get where I'm still like what I'm saying? It kind
Yeah.
of just feels like there's so much going on right now in fishing where everybody is just like a little bit kind of like a Me Too act. And I don't think it's benefiting anglers at all.
Mm,
All it does is it kills the bites that are happening
hmm.
because now fish get so programmed to see that same type of performance. They're like, oh, well, I've seen 100 of those already today. And it kills that bite. And it's the running meme is like, how many brushtail glides do you have out there? But that's the greatest example of
Yeah.
exactly what I'm talking about.
Right.
Is there one better than the other? I'm sure there are.
Hmm.
But for the most part, they're all doing very similar things. I mean, the soft bait stuff, I mean, when the battle shad first existed, there was not a full body beast hook bait
Hmm.
out there. Now, if you look around there, it's almost like if you came out with a soft bait that doesn't fill the entire beast hook, people look at you like, bro, what kind of idiot are you? You
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
it, if you need to make it so it fills the beast hook.
Yeah.
Like it's just commonplace now,
Hmm.
you know? So personally, that's one of my bigger gripes is as, and coming from an advocacy for an angler side of like, dude, I want other guys to create their own shit, whether it's hard bait, soft baits, buzz bait, go down the list,
Yeah.
create their own stuff because the more variety, the more success us as anglers will have
Hmm.
instead of just taking ideas from one guy and saying it's different. You're like,
Right.
bro, that's like literally the same fucking thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You got, yeah, I mean, I have my famous online ones where I just go like, bro, if it's the same silhouette, just because you carved a couple of different lines in the
Mhm.
gill plate, it doesn't make it a different bait.
Right. Yeah.
Functionally, it's the exact same.
Hmm.
That's the thing. It's the function, the action of the bait. It's the same. I don't give a shit what it looks like.
Hmm.
Sorry, I'm not trying to go negative. I'm trying to
No.
be
No.
like desperately craving as an angler, like, hey, other guys, I love it when I see other shit. And some of it could be the wildest stuff. Dude, the more the merrier. That's what
Hmm.
we need.
Right. Yeah.
Crazier
100%.
stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Look
Uh,
at look at the Japanese guys. I'll have to make that reference. I'm like, I feel like the Japanese sometimes just come up with the wildest stuff and they're just throwing ideas, just
yeah.
throwing it. And finally it's like, oh, that one's stuck.
Mhm.
Yep, let's run with that one because it
Yeah. Yeah.
actually became successful, but they're trying to come up with some wild shit.
Hmm.
What were you going to say though? I cut you off a little
No,
bit.
you're good. I was gonna ask, any future plans on a hardboard drop or anything like that, or you guys have some travel boards I think on the site, so more so probably the hardboards. Like, do you have any plan on doing another run of those anytime soon in the near future, or?
I always plan on it, but execution of it is much harder. Since COVID, it really changed
Yeah.
a lot of stuff in the industry, in the skateboard industry. The plant I was working with that was around for 40 something years, they closed down, had
Oh
to find a
wow.
new plant. They're in the same similar situation. So the people that are remaining that I know that I had contacts to, I mean, dude, the backlog is just incredible. Then we start
Mhm.
getting into minimum orders,
Right.
and you're like, oof,
Hmm.
how many guys really need a hardboard? And
Right.
they're not cheap. So
Yeah.
I I need to let demand build up a little bit
Yeah.
more before I can offer them again, so that guys take advantage. Like, hey, it is offered. Now's your time to buy it.
Hmm.
You know, get it while the getting's good. Versus like, oh, they're always available. I'm buy
Hmm.
them at my convenience because
Right.
I can't afford to have those number of units just kind of hanging out on a shelf,
Hmm.
slowly but surely selling. 'Cause it's just money tied up in product or
Hmm.
in inventory.
Right. Yeah. Any plans to restock? What do you have? The medium heavy, the light. Are those the two rods that are sold out right now?
Um, Media, the lights are gonna be restocked. They're just waiting on them. They're a little bit delayed. And then yeah, medium heavy, heavy, and extra heavy. There's only a few of the extra heavies left. That's that big boy for the big soft baits.
Hmm.
The heavy, all around, it's available. All around powerhouse of a swim bait rod. It can pretty much throw anything. I love it for like the 8-inch tyrants. Like it might be my favorite rod of all time at this point. That sounds obviously like I'm biased, but I'm like, no, dude, all around, it's just a great rod. The way it feels, the way it's balanced, all
Hmm.
that stuff, and it sets the hook on the piece hook applications incredibly. I even throw the 10-inch tyrant on it when I need to, like for the treble hook applications,
Yeah.
and it does the job phenomenally.
Mm.
And that's just a power thing versus like the treble hook can bend out too much on
Mhm.
the extra heavy, set the hook too hard, so I power down. But and then medium heavy. But restock the lights. It was amazing how quickly those kind of just blew out.
Mm.
But the reason, and I completely missed that aspect of how quickly the lights sold out is because there's not another rod out there really like it.
Mm.
With the handle length and all
Yeah.
that stuff, it truly is a little bit more of a niche thing. Whereas swim bait rods do kind of offer like they kind of they're all similar in some
Yeah.
aspects, cosmetically or whatever you want to be, but action, some are better than others. So you can see it. A lot of guys have a swim bait rod, and they're going to have that rod for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years as long
Mm.
as they take care of their stuff. But the light was a much more specific rod. So it triggered some ideas for me where I went, oh, okay, there's huge gaps out there
Mm.
in the rod world. But do I have any interest really in making rods? Hmm, not really, just the ones I have.
Yeah.
And that's because that's what I do, you
Hmm.
know?
Hmm.
But it made me like think about like, dude, there's a lot of room for like frog rods and shit. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of room out there. But I mean, dude, oh man, I'm gonna go on this rant. Go look at the darter head world on any tackle page right now.
Hmm.
Functionally, they all do the same shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a ton of different options, but functionally, they all do the exact same thing. How does that benefit any of us?
Hmm.
I just say that at reference because I've been looking at darter head stuff, wobble head stuff, just different rigs, and I'm like looking around and I'm like, oh, here's a super unique one, the Warbaits neck breaker rig that is hooked to the BKK platform.
Yeah, yeah,
You're like, wow, that one stands out amongst
hmm
all these others because
yeah,
it's something a little bit different, you know.
hmm
But outside of that, you're just like, it's the same. What's that old saying? Well, like you can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a fucking pig or
Oh,
something like
yeah,
that. What
yeah.
is that? Like it's like that same thing. It's like just across the
Mhm.
spectrum. And I don't know. There's this needs to be more nuance and more variance out there for all of us as anglers. But maybe I got my head in the sand and there is a ton, and I just don't see it, and I'm just operating my own little bubble or echo chamber. But so yeah,
Well,
you've
heck.
heard enough of it before, but I go on my rants. So
Oh no, that's okay. That's okay. I always appreciate them because it always opens my eyes a little bit. Or I say something, you're like, what do you mean? And I break it down, and again, you're like, oh, I had no idea that was going on, or I'd never seen that. Like, oh, send me that. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Oh my gosh, yeah, you're right. Like, I've always enjoyed that because sometimes people don't care what's going around, or they think they know everything or whatnot, and you're always like there with an open mind and give your perspective on it because a lot of times I haven't been around nearly as long as you have and you're like I think that's kind of been done before a couple of years ago like here it is. I'm like, oh my god, I didn't even know that was a thing, or whatever else it may be.
yeah, and I mean that's like none of us know the answer. Like I'll talk with authority sometimes in like some weird way, but like I'm just another asshole out on the water. Like I don't know. It's just
Mhm.
from my own experience. I'm not saying I'm right. It's just how I feel about it. It's my perspective. But there's plenty of other dudes that have a completely different perspective, and I think we can all disagree about all that shit and remain cordial. I do wish more people would kind of broadly take a stand on certain actions that go on,
Yeah.
and you see people do. And then if you dive further in, you're like, you might feel if you have a personality like me, you start being like, oh, fuck, humanity's fucked because you see just things that are contradictory to how you feel.
Yeah.
But over the most, there's so many good dudes out there. There's so many great anglers out there that are doing wonderful things. It's like easy to get caught up in the bullshit online. That's why I try not to be too active and too stare
Mhm.
at it. Like,
Mhm.
you guys will send me stuff from time to time. I'm like, what the hell? I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
It's just random commentary, like, on one of the forums or something. And I try and stay out of all that stuff just so
Mhm.
I can have some resemblance of a happy life.
Yeah.
Otherwise, as somebody that runs their own business, makes the baits by hand, like puts a lot of effort into it, you rarely receive like praise compared to the amount of negativity you receive.
Mhm.
And that just comes with the territory. And that's why you hear like, famous podcasters like Joe Rogan or some of these other dudes that we'll talk about, like, don't read the comments,
Yeah.
bro. Don't read the comments
Mhm.
because there are praise in there, but often those are sprinkled in compared
Yeah.
to, dog piling going on of guys that want to talk about shit that you can look up and go, hey, you've never purchased this product, or
Yeah.
you said this happened and I looked up the history of that and that's not what happened. So just sometimes for my own sanity, I stay away from all of that.
Mhm.
So there's only so much where you can feel like, oh, dude, tired of getting kicked in the teeth every time I open social media.
Yeah.
But
No, I
that just comes with the
understand.
territory, though. I think, dude.
Yeah, no, I understand that for sure. Real quick, where can people like the subscription service that you mentioned, Instagram, where can they follow you and check all that stuff out at?
uh, Instagram is working.class.0. Uh, Website is workingclass0.com, workingclass0.net, workingclass0.store. Those are three options there. Sign up to the email newsletter that is on the website, and that just when we do drops, uh, we send out a mass email giving people information about how they can potentially get a hold of the baits. Uh, that's kind of the most part. I float around on Twitter here and there, kind of just get my news from there. But YouTube is Working Class Zero. I think if you just Google,
Yeah.
it'll come up as Working Class Zero, but I think it's actually Working Class Zero Fishing, I think is
Mhm.
what It actually is.
Hmm.
Uh, that's because they shut down my old YouTube channel and I had to start a new one years ago. Uh, but that's pretty much it. And then my own personal one is on Instagram is Gilbert Mike
Heck yeah.
at Gilbert
Patreon.
Mike. So,
The
yeah.
Patreon is just Working Class Zero, right? I think.
Oof.
I th
Yeah, I
I think if
believe
you
so. It
look it up.
has the Liberty Bass
Yeah.
logo.
Yep.
Yeah. Either that or it's like Pursuit of Giants, maybe. I
Oh
don't even
man,
remember what it is,
it's
but
been a while since I've actually looked.
yeah,
I don't know, and I know when I never have to look for it, I forget what it's called. It's one of those two.
yeah.
I don't know. Somebody will
We're
find it.
like
They'll find it.
this is this is like operating on speed dial, where you eventually just don't even know any numbers. You just know everything by like the little like
The how many times you got to
icon.
spin it?
You're
Yeah,
like, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. You're like, oh, I just go by the icons. I don't even look at names anymore. But I actually do think it is Working Class Zero on
Okay.
Patreon. Uh, yep. And so that's it. And we don't everything's pretty much goes through our website. We do partnerships with certain, shops like Hookup Tackle is a great partner with us. We're working with Tackle Stack out in Texas here and there, trying to get something else going. And then we do the Mode B distribution in Japan. But that's pretty much keep it pretty streamlined, and most of it goes through our own online website or web
Heck yeah.
store.
Right, right. Heck yeah.
So yeah,
Well, Mike, thank you for coming on,
but
dude. Absolutely awesome episode 200. I appreciate it. Like I said, it's if we were recorded this like 2 years ago or a year ago when we didn't really talk, I probably would have asked some crazy questions that I don't know, like just stuff that I had always thought from watching you for so long. But now since we kind of talk a decent amount, it's always like, okay, this is just one of our normal conversations. I don't know how many times we've been on the phone and Mike's like, oh, been on the phone for X amount of time. We could have just recorded a podcast this whole time. So that's I don't know. We finally
hmm
sat down and did one though, so that's cool. And it was episode 200, which is even cooler. After this one, we're gonna have some conventional smallmouth guys on since we're moving over to the conventional side of bass fishing too. So that'll be pretty cool. Give us a break on the whole swim bait stuff. Get to hear some cool stories from some guys up north catching some absolutely monster smallmouth. But as always, Mike, thank you for coming on, dude. I appreciate it.
well, I appreciate you having me. And it's always a pleasure.
Oh yeah, heck yeah, man. As always, I'll have all of Mike's stuff in the show notes. You guys can go follow him, check the website out, check the YouTube out, check the Patreon, whatever else you guys might want to do. But as always, thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed this 200th episode of Scales and Tails, and we'll see you guys on episode 201. See you guys.